Hello and welcome back, Exiles, for Season 3 of Path of Exile PoE Sports Racing for the Third Edict. This is race number 2. Last week we had a bit of a wild race, a bit of a messy race. And this week I am very excited. I've been looking forward to and been following a lot of the practice and things to get some insights into which hot race for today. This is an Act 4 any percent race to complete Act 4 as quickly as possible, with a prize for the top of each class, the fastest run of each class. But not only that, but also for the fastest runs overall across all 3 races. So people will be definitely competing for what they think could be the fastest runner overall. And after 2 seasons of Angormus winning every single race, we had a historic moment last week, Raiz, didn't we? We joined by RaizQT for my Yap entertainment today. What did you think about the dethroning of Angormus last week, mate?
It was pretty crazy, and most importantly, it didn't. Not only did Guy That Dies beat Angormus, he also beat Warrior with a mercenary, which is not really a newcomer to the scene. People have been experimenting with mercenary, but it was more or less, in the previous seasons at least, like a worse version of a warrior. Now it's got its own unique playstyle that people leveled with in general previously, but now it's gotten so strong. Crossbows have gotten so strong with the recent patch that now people are using that. A little bit of a wonky start. You have to use a lot of different abilities, mixture of different archetypes, but once it gets going at level 14 and you get that gas grenade, things get really juicy.
Absolutely, yes. We see spells being thrown in, we get leap slamming, get all mixture of things, but I'm very excited about the grenade meta that we've seen develop here, because I'm a big fan of the grenades in Path of Exile. Fun, explosive, sometimes eye-blinding playstyle, but yes, it dishes out some real damage. But we saw like the worst possible run from Angormus last week. The guy got so unlucky as well. Like, not to diminish Guy That Dies, a fantastic run. I think everyone had a pretty bad race overall, but Angormus was a historically rough race for him, with him being stuck on like a level 1 shield for the entirety of the race, pretty much. The worst shield of all time. But from watching his practice and talking to him, he has been specifically modifying his tree and practicing for that exact scenario. So if he gets stuck with a white shield with no extra armor for what has become the warrior kind of main playstyle for these races this season, which is the shield walls, shield slam, war cry action, then he's ready. He's put a bit more damage in the tree, and he's apparently ready for that. But you know, he's not alone in preparing, because we've been seeing furious preparation across the board. The mercenary competition is going to be insane too. We had 3 people really duking it out last week for mercenary, and those 3 are back here. And though we had Guy That Dies win and have some very good practice runs, even he was even saying that he could think like a 2-hour 15 finish could be possible, and that's something he could achieve.
Oh wow!
That said,
wasn't last week's finish like, again, it was kind of a slow run, but it was
it was like 240. Yeah, because like 230 was kind of the fastest runs that we were predicting. But Guy That Does has been saying like, a time as good as 215 is possible, and has been getting sub 222. So we've been seeing some very fast runs there. So, and not to mention, Guy That Does was telling me that they have some secret tech and they wouldn't tell me what, but they might not use it this race. So apparently something that's fast, 20 to 30% faster than leap slam spam for the late game movement.
It might be like the whirling thing that I've seen people use, but I haven't seen anybody practice with it. There's like a whirling staff thing that people animation break, but I don't even know when that's available. I don't know if that's it. I'm just making a guess. Like that's the only thing that comes to mind.
That would be incredible, because they would have like spell casting, crossbow, leap slamming, whirling staffs. Like, the mercenary just being the master of everything would be amazing. But we might not see that until next week, because Guy was like, I want to get the divination card win, and I should do it in week 3. If I have a secret strategy, I should do it in week 3, so that I can like get that fastest time. So they're kind of like metagaming the overall comp there. But that all said, today Guy's name is Congratulations Whole New Society, which was their number 2 merc last week, and has apparently been doing some insane practice. So who's going to be winning this one? I could not tell you. We should switch over to the casters the screens and see who's live on the mark for us, ready to go, because the race is beginning in just 2 minutes. And Rise, could you introduce who is on screen for us?
In the top left, we've got Angormus, who is playing a warrior. So despite a lot of players thinking that Mercenary is the new meta, Angormus sticking to the tried and true warrior that has brought him so much success in the past. And we're going to have to wait and see if it works out for him here, if it truly was just an unfortunate RNG fiesta, or if warrior is still the way to go if you're practiced enough to do so. Then obviously in the top right, we've got Guy That Dies, our winner from the previous race that dethroned Angormus. Definitely something to pay attention to, hopefully with some new techs. But maybe not. We're going to have to wait and see. Ungrown in the bottom left, another very prominent PoE1 player that is kind of a newcomer to PoE2 racing. He has made some comments about potentially some rule changes, saying that learning layouts is just such a huge time investment that it makes it very difficult to get into racing. And despite that, he's still here, he's still competing, he has been practicing, and I really wonder what he's going to be able to bring to the table. As for PoE1, I gotta say, in the current state of the game, for things like the Gauntlet, John Grown is probably like a top 3 player. So incredibly successful there. We're gonna have to wait and see what he brings over to PoE2. And then we've got MyDriz in the bottom right. And with just 10 seconds starting off, that's going to be another Mercenary player who's had pretty good success in the past. And it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what he's going to be able to bring to the table here, and whether or not he's going to be able to compete against Guy That Dies and many other mercenaries. It is really interesting that in the past, despite the fact that so many players were so dominant on a particular class, we still had so many other players continuing to compete, kind of warrior being that standout in the previous races. Now, more and more players playing on Mercenary, and still, despite everything, trying to go for that rank 1 spot. As yeah, we've already started, and already I'm seeing some gem abuse from Angormus, who's going to be respawning a checkpoint to get some gems.
Only Angormus, from what I can tell, the witches and the mercenaries, not going for the gem respawns this time, but Angormus did duplicate the starting one-handed mace so that he could dual wield those, which makes a big difference, and did grab a couple of extra gems, which they are sold for gold to be able to buy 1 or 2 extra items at the vendor when they get to town, which can make a pretty big difference there. And now moving on, not a lot of gem farming this time, and no one kind of like seemingly dying and having to redo it this time like we had last time.
It does seem like players are using a different strategy, and Gormus being the only one who's standing up against that wall. You can see the bloated Miller kind of hitting him a lot, but Angormus has enough defenses to stay alive, and this way he can funnel the zombies. He makes sure that Miller doesn't move around with his charging ability, and it just ensures that he dies as quickly as possible. Obviously, he picks up every single one of those items, but with the Mercenary, it seems like, due to the fact that you can shoot, you can position yourself a little bit differently, but it does end up costing them a little bit of time, I do think, for that extra safety.
Let me tell you about a little cute nuance there that I learned. So I did some co-piloted practice run on Mercenary just the other day, and so I learned that for the Miller, the ranged characters actually pull them to the far away from the entrance, because if you're not on the screen with the entrance, it's kind of bugs it out and allows you to clip and roll through that spike wall. So you can get into town earlier, but it doesn't work quite for the melee characters as well. So Angormus, for example, just kills them right against the door and just kind of waits that one out. But yeah, the mercs especially take advantage of pulling that boss away from that entrance there, which is interesting to see.
Don't tell the devs.
Well, if it's done in a race, it's getting on the list to get fixed at some point, most likely. But Juggernaut on the Witch End, I'm pretty curious and hoping to see a bit of Witch and Sork kind of sorceress gameplay during this race if we get the chance, because there's been some pretty interesting developments and experimentation going on there. So Jungro and a bunch of other witches and sorceresses, which are kind of competing in similar playstyles, with a lot of people unsure as to which is actually better. But the strategy was going to be to run through Contagion, which has a fantastic early game, just amazing clear speed. It is the top clear speed skill by several minutes. We're starting to practice this weapon swap minion detonation thing build that was based on a bug, and that got bug fixed not long before the race. So we have
Oh,
had a last minute swap with people getting 3-4 days of practice with other strategies, and lots of them keeping it secret. Even Jungron was only streaming Act 1 and 2 practice runs. They were
I
unwilling to show
see.
whatever their strategy is for which in the later parts there. So I don't know what
Nice.
we're going to see from the Witch in the late game yet, because people have been keeping it secret. So
I
we'll see
love
how
to
they
hear that.
transition out of that.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
I
It's
like
been
that.
too friendly, you know? We're always talking about, oh yeah, the Discord, the community, everybody's sharing. Nah, no more sharing strategies. This needs to get a little bit cutthroat if you want that beautiful demi. And I guess we should do a quick rundown of the rules. You can see some of our players dropping pretty low while fighting the witch, trying to get those crucial flasks and also that additional support gem. And yeah, if they die, there is a 2.5 minute penalty where they will not be able to control their character or do anything. So extremely brutal. We've seen it had a huge impact in our previous race on our players. It's not quite hardcore, but it's pretty hardcore. And players are definitely respecting the enemies a lot more
Yes.
compared to their typical practice runs where they can just reset. Obviously, you can see some of the personal bests, especially for Argomus. I don't think we're going to be seeing that in a marathon setting, but yeah, his personal best from the looks of it is 228, I think. And we were talking about less than 220 or something. Like things might get crazy.
Yes, and Gomez has been like one of the hardest practices of all time. He was practicing PW2 racing before PW2 racing even existed as a term in the dictionary. He has been going hard on it ever since early season one. But this last week, though, he has been pretty busy with work outside of that and has not been able to practice as much as possible. So he's going to be relying more on that background practice and that raw talent that he has for Path of Exile 2. And, well, yeah, it's
Uh-oh.
more than raw talent. It's a lot of work put in mapping zones and reading layouts and things like that.
I'm
Especially
not quite
these zones
sure.
here. Go ahead.
I'm not quite sure if I missed it, but Angormus was doing an Abyss, and I'm not quite sure if it dropped the support gem that it's intended to. We did have an issue with that previously. Hopefully, it's working here.
There was so there was a thing last week where the NPC that appears and gives you an extra gem in the
Oh, that's
Abyssal
what it was.
League. Yeah, it wasn't appearing in town, so racers are like, "Oh, we were kind of expecting that extra support gem," so they had to adjust their strategies on the fly. But that should be fixed this week. We took a lot of things and hopefully got
Oh,
them
my bad.
sorted
I
out for the
thought
second race here.
I'm
But
misremembering that it
sometimes
drops from the Abyss, but yeah, you get it from the NPC, of course.
there is a gem from Abyss in the early game here as well, actually. So it's kind of two, and
Yes.
especially it's fairly important on the Warriors, but they can potentially forego one or two gems if needed. Whereas Mercenary really can't afford that. So if that happens on a Mercenary, it's pretty devastating. They're super, super hungry, especially for support gems. And these early zones are pretty crucial for that. So while we've been talking, like the racers have actually been working on some of the hardest zones in the game in terms of like if you're a new racer trying to learn how to do layouts and things like that, the Red Veil and the Grim Tangle are just so like complicated and are so well mapped by the community that you can get really perfect runs that have a difference of like 2 minutes. Like just getting through Red Veil alone, you can save like 2 minutes compared to running around
Oh,
trying to
wow.
find the obelisks. You can get inside and get a zone read almost immediately and run exactly where you need to go if you are an experienced racer who's like learned those layouts. There's a 28-page PDF document on Red Veil layouts. It's hilarious. The
Not
work
bad.
some of the community has been putting in together to map these things and figure it out and share this knowledge is awesome. I love to see it on the Campaign Codex Discord. People work together to share these layouts and learn all this stuff together. But yes, we do see people take on the abysses in these early zones as well because they are crucially important. In fact, you'll see a lot of abysses during the race because they're dropping things like support gems guaranteed, exalts, even alchemies. These things are really, really important for the races. So
Apparently,
they'll be,
even unique items that we found out just last week.
yeah, yep. There's a guaranteed unique item. Although some players are arguing as to whether that's worth it in terms of what can potentially be dropped there. But that is in Act 2. We'll see there later. I'm hoping to see some unique action there. Let's maybe get something spicy. We'll talk about that one later. But yeah, the
Yeah,
Abyss
for
is
sure.
a fantastic XP, so lots and lots of important item drops there. That's why we see some players battling it out right now for them.
Yep. And as far as items, it's kind of more or less like PoE1 racing. You're trying to focus on the maximizing your movement speed. So no shields, players not using or even taking off their chest pieces. You've also got a pretty large focus on items with fire damage, especially for the warrior, because you can get pretty good flammability and you can get pretty good ignites with that later on, but also pretty early on. Obviously, we're kind of waiting for the level 14, which is where things super kick off in terms of single target for both the warrior and the mercenary. It's going to be perfect strike and the gas grenade. But I gotta say, we're already seeing a pretty large gap. You were talking about how the mercenary was weak in the starting parts of the game, but Angormus is fighting the Rust King, right, and Guy That Dies is already in the Grim Tangle.
Yeah, that does that a fantastic run through, and yes, like the crossbow level 1 to 12 is really weak by itself, but mercenaries have been working in contagion, and actually trying that out, I was just floored by how much of an improvement it is to the clear, because you use contagion, you cast it on the weakest mob in the pack, and then you use the fragmentation rounds to fire through that mob into the mobs behind it, and that spreads the contagion to the weakened mobs and then kills them all as well. So you just get this really efficient clear, and you get to use that all the way through to about the end of Act 1, using even grenades and proliferating that kind of contagion damage around. And even just that level 1 contagion damage just makes such a big difference to the smoothness of clear of the mercenaries here. So it's really rounded out their early game. It's just it's so cool. Like, it's such a cool Path of Exile 2 thing to see, like, the crossbow characters working in some spells, and they have to do some stuff for that. They take their very second passive is actually off to the side just to grab an intelligence node to be able to equip that, and also later Frostbomb as well. So we'll see Frostbomb action typically too from most of the races. But Guy That Dies is just on an absolute tear right now, moving in the Grim Tangle and taking on the all-important Abyss here, which is just super essential for that XP. And I believe there is a guaranteed drop from pretty much every Abyss that you'll see them doing as well. They'll rarely do an Abyss if there's not some important guaranteed drop, unless they're super behind on XP.
Yeah, and that is true. Struggling a little bit with a rare, but more or less making sure that he doesn't die. This is another sketchy zone. The players are making it look easy, but these narrow corridors make this super dangerous. But also another thing about Contagion is you can see how effective it is in clearing out that Abyss, even if you're not using Essence Drain. It's just so much damage at this early stage of the game. And you can see all of the micromanagement of inventory already going on for Guy That Dies. So he seems to be finding a lot of items that have armor, which is going to be crucial pretty much throughout the entire run. Armor, a little bit of a meme in the end game and in these early parts of the game. And especially when you're later on skipping a lot of monsters, you're really trying to make sure that you have as much defense as possible. And the big thing about Mercenary is that you don't get to use a shield in the latter parts of the game. You have to be playing with a crossbow, and it's not like you're going to be getting any defenses from the skill tree. So, yeah, crucial play is very, very important. And we did see in the previous race that some of our players, especially in Act 4, panicked a little bit with the crossbow, and they ended up seemingly throwing away their runs that were super close for the previous 2 hours of play.
Yeah, the gearing on the mercenary early game is really tough here. We see a lot of the mercs running around with basically no gear for a while, but thankfully just off the back of that kind of like extra damage from contagion and stuff, they can make it work. But
Guy That Dies getting a random support gem, that's going to be super useful. Really He's going to be able to potentially skip some content, gets that essence drink too, and currently hoping to get an iron ring, most likely from one of the graves. Oh, we're about to see it right here. It's a 50% chance between a Lazuli and an iron ring, and he gets a Lazuli.
Unfortunate. They do really want that iron ring. The extra damage there makes a really nice difference. You can see that Guy That Dies is starting. It's taking a little tumble and does go for the reset. If you see a random reset when they're trying to move through a pack, usually that's because they thought they could sprint and they could not. They trip on a rock, get face planting into the ground there. It's definitely a lot safer to go for a reset than risk that 2.5 minute death. Only kind of like seeing that through. There's no real mobs around, but Angormus getting frozen there, and by the Abyss. Oh man, I tell you, when you're pushing this hard and this underleveled and this undergeared, some of those Abyss monsters especially are just so deadly. But that was probably one of those ghosts as well.
Yeah,
spitting out those little ice projectiles.
We have a newcomer to the stream, Sarge, somebody who does get the
Nice.
Iron Ring. Nicely done by him. He struggled a
Fun.
little bit. These times are kind of unusual for him. He is German, and the race starts at like 9 or 10 p.m. So it is kind of tough for him, and definitely had a lot of success previously. Oh, and Gorm is getting a little bit surrounded there, but manages to get out. But yeah, Sarge was struggling, and he had so many rips last. And he's frozen right now. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Getting frozen there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Sarge ever managed to recover. He definitely was super tilted, but he has won Monk, I think 4 times previously, as this is a class race. As much as we're talking about, comparing mercenaries and warriors, we are competing on a class basis. Just that, that first overall is definitely something that our players want to get as well, on top of just the demigods. It's for the prestige.
Guy that dies found like a really nice pair of rare gloves, and I was thinking like, why aren't you wearing those? Those are insane. And then I open up their inventory using new spectate tech, and I see.
Let's go.
I was wondering why a guy that dies wasn't putting on those nice red gloves they found, and it turns out they had a pair of magic gloves with 5 to 7 fire damage and 10 cold rares already, and that's just insane amount of extra damage to get on gloves early on here. So guy that dies is getting a really nice damage advantage, and we do see a unique ring coming down for Angormus there as well.
True, and in the meanwhile, you guys might have noticed our players have been creating some additional instances. That's to manipulate the level of the zone that they are currently doing. It's crucial because you get a level 11 potential weapon drop from our bosses, as Guy That Dies already fighting Asinia, which should be a pretty simple fight, although we have seen some rips at her, and Angormus really struggling with an Abyss. Sorry, I'm focusing so much on a boss, I look over, Angormus is running away.
Angormus has had more close calls than I'm comfortable with there, but still managing to survive, but it does make me a little bit nervous.
Guy That Dies. Rare Iron Ring. I'm not sure about the rolls, but
I'll take a look at that in a moment here. But the Asinia fight there is like really well done from Guy That Dies. It was really fast. They do a lot of things to optimize that. So like throwing down 2 early explosive grenades, but not all of them, and rather waiting for that frost bomb to connect first to lower those resistances, which does do all resistances now, following up with the rest of them and getting really nice damage cycles there. And not only that, but they also time their grenade throws to the movement of their boss, which is dictated by their type of attacks. So when she's using her dagger, Asinia moves around, so you don't use grenades then. You rather use your default attack crossbows and throw down some contagions. Some nice currency for Angormus there in the background. And
he was doing an Abyss
when to use their other abilities.
He was doing an Abyss, and he saw the rare mob and quickly began to run away. Yeah, that is pretty tricky on a warrior. That combination of abilities that he uses in the early stage of the game is just so powerful, but it does leave you a little bit vulnerable. You're standing still for a pretty long amount of time. As Guy That Dies already beginning his Draven fight. It's looking pretty good so far. The damage isn't quite there yet, but you can already see the ignites are quite potent. He uses that frost bomb as a little bit of damage, obviously using those explosive grenades, and every little bit helps for sure, especially this early on.
Like the optimization of that fight from Guy That Dies is actually beautiful though. Like he was perfect in timing those grenades with every stop phase. So they'll throw grenades during the phase whenever he's kind of summoning like the giant slam explosion, any of the stationary maneuvers. That's when they're putting down the frostbomb and grenades. And then like just seamlessly switching to the default attack and contagions whenever he was doing like his, I will end your meaningless life combo, where he moves around so much.
Holy, the precasting is super serious for Guy That Dies. Lachlan already at 50% HP. He did use the respawn a checkpoint skip for the gate, which skips the animation, which is why he's here so quickly and already taking down the boss, as our other players are still trying to catch up. He has to dodge a big slam. That slam will definitely one-shot him with 122 life. Now he's waiting for drops. Let's see if he's going to get something useful. Skill Gem, Withered Wand. Kind of useful, but nothing all that crazy. As I gotta say, in the bottom left, Jungrown on a witch, struggling a little bit with struggling a lot.
Struggling a little low.
Yeah, going a little low. There's a lot of chilled ground, but he's already fighting the boss. He's ahead of the warrior, having to dodge that big slam, 124 life, making sure that his flask management is perfect. And whenever he is able to do damage, the damage is pretty good. I mean, which does allow you for a little bit extra mobility. He gets that freeze off, but you do have a little bit extra mobility because you are primarily using Essence Drain and Decontagion for your damage. So you're not necessarily having to spam it on Gormus with that perfect opening dodge. Positions
Movement speed
himself
for Jung.
perfectly. Oh,
1070
nice.
speed on rare boots with like 2 resists, I think, for Jung. Very nice.
Holy.
Immediately sockets them, which honestly, using runes early on is, I guess, for a witch, a little different to how it is for a lot of the attacker-based
Okay,
characters. But yeah, actually immediately socketing those.
Ziggy Angormis is using 2 one-handed weapons, and his damage was crazy. Like, he killed Blackland incredibly quickly. I'm not sure if he just has really good weapons. Really good starting weapons can be very effective because if they have plus levels, they're going to be something that's essentially best in slot for the entirety of their run, as they can use it with the shield abilities later on. That was a ton of damage. I mean, he killed it like 4 times as fast as Jungron did, so I wonder what's coming out here. If your gear is super good on a warrior, players switch away from a two-hander to that one-hander, because if you have too much damage, you're not able to do your Bone Zone combo. So the fact that he's dual wielding one-handers is really nice, because it does result in a not just in an assumption from us that his gear is really good, but also you have that extra attack speed that you get
Yeah, I'm
from
taking a look
it.
now, and Gormus is definitely having a pretty nice early run here with 2 smithing hammers, which are pretty great weapons in general, and then both of them rolled with damage. One with plus melee gems, which is really nice. 3 to 5
Let's
physical,
go.
and then the gloves on the gloves, and they also have plus melee skills. So he's actually got +2 right now, and the
Oh,
ring. And the ring has double damage rolls as well, 1 to 3 and 1 to 2. So he's
okay.
got
Yeah.
the ideal early game here on the warrior. Not like the start was not as good, but this little phase, this period here before he switches to shield skills a little bit later on, and looking really, really nice for Engormas.
Yeah, that really does explain a lot. His damage was truly incredible. And I gotta say, already his gear is looking better than it was in the final
Yeah.
states of the previous race. So
Yeah, he's got better gear now than he
Garmin's
did at
pretty
the end of
happy with
last
it.
race.
Yeah, it's definitely better.
Pretty
Already
much.
taking We've got a fight in the hunting grounds. Fighting the Abyss will result in a guaranteed Exalted Orb, and that's exactly what Guy That Dies is going for. They are going for the extra passives from Crowbell, as it isn't that long of a fight, and you can see a little bit of that damage here for Angormis, already facing the boss, having to wait for that big animation, a Sapphire Charm for Guy That Dies that might end up saving him a few seconds if he does get frozen, especially in Act 3. That can be something that will be very dangerous. But I mean, whenever you're running abysses, you're always kind of running the risk of getting frozen. So definitely something useful this early on.
So we are something we haven't even had a chance to mention too much is Sarge 2 on the monk in the bottom right now. Phenomenal player. We didn't get to see much last week, as after a decent little start, they fell off pretty quickly, and they had a really rough week last week.
Ziggy, how
But
could you? I'm not sure if he died to Miller. I don't know about the decent little start. He had to remake his character.
oh, was Sarge the Miller death after the gem gift? Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot about that. Oh, I'm sorry, Sarge.
Way to rub it in. Let's go, Ziggy. Brutal
All right.
casting.
Sorry about that. But Sarge is the right one to monk to watch for sure, and he just got a new PC too. So after doing some nice practice runs, we're definitely looking at a much more polished and hopefully smoother run for Sarge this time around on that sleek new PC.
He's
And
looking great.
yeah, I mean, right now he's been toe to toe with Engormus for a lot of this run, and is looking in really good shape. And honestly, that's going to challenge us as casters, because I think Monk is probably one of the ones that we know the least about, as we just have not seen Monk topping the ladders, topping these races almost at all ever. So this is exciting times for us. I love the the getting to see new things live. So move speed boots in the vendor there. Sarge trying to make some space to get them.
Yeah, he has so much in his inventory. Maybe a little bit of lack of practice showing here, as his inventory management isn't as pristine as we've seen from some of the other players, but he finally finds a way to manage things.
There's an insane mace for Sarge. He's got some slim maces that look just absolutely nuts.
Those
there.
gloves too. My goodness.
We're gonna
Was
see
that
some
flats and 70 IPD for on the mace? I think so. That looked crazy.
This full mace build from the monk here with just insane maces lined up as well. Like even better than Angormus's nutty gear right now. So Sarge is looking to put out some absolute damage very soon here.
Very interesting for sure. And I wonder, because in the past, Monk did play with a staff, mostly his clear was never really that good, but once you got to the bell stages of things, it was pretty good.
Yes. Yeah, the bells were quite busted for a while there. But now it looks like we're seeing some mace action from the Monk, which does help us a bit because we know about the mace builds. So we are of course seeing the rolling slam initial hit followed by bone shatter. Sarge just having to deal with like 3 abyss devourers at the same time here, and kind of opting to just get out of that area. Just go and get out of there.
It's a fight for the exalted orb, and he decides that his gear is good enough. Hopefully, it's going to be good enough long term. And he goes for the skip, as our other players already in the Ogam village going for that guaranteed Artificer's Orb with the quest for that whole crafting table, I suppose. Even though it's not quite, depends.
And Gomez gets like a nice pair of gloves and just like throws them away because his current gloves are already so insane. Which is actually going to be a little challenging from long term because he's not going to have any armor. And armor is really good here in the race. Like the low tier bases are really going to be rough for him later on.
But you can see the difference in practice. Angormus really did put himself through every possible scenario, including basically having no gear now, judging by the previous race. And you could see how quickly he managed the fact that his gear is just so good. He's already been in that situation compared to Sarge, who was seemingly surprised by the amount of RNG that he got. And he got a little bit... he wasted a little bit of time. Yeah. Oh, damn. Those are big. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Goes for the skip. Runs back for the gear.
I wonder if that was worth it. But not hesitating to take care of those real quick with that bone shatter there. And gets on out of there. Very nicely done. Yes, you did see him. They'll grab the lever while they're waiting for the loot to drop and then go back down and get loot after.
I think Ziggy's lagging again, but let's see how this fight is going to go for Jungrun here. Oh, we're back. Oh, boss fight coming up for Jungrun. Let's see what kind of single target he's putting out. He has a staff for... I can't remember the name, but it's an early game weapon that gives you that frostbolt-like ability. And his damage is looking not nearly as good as Angormus's, but he makes up for it with the clear. A pretty safe fight so far, which is definitely looking interesting. I think Ziggy's back. Ziggy, how are you doing?
Hopefully so. Yes, not sure there. I'll see if I can adjust anything here, but looks like we have Jungrun just about to take down the Executioner. Very nice. Their single target definitely not as good as what, say, like the Mercs can start dishing out here soon, but they're more than make up for it with the clear speed of Contagion. The real question is just like, what are they going to be doing later on when that single target becomes the most important thing, when only doing bosses is what happens through the latter half of Act 3 and the entirety of Act 4, when it's basically just all about those bosses. Angormus does manage to pick up the Abyss here, which can be missed in the Ramparts, so it's nice to run into that one, both for your XP and also for an extra guaranteed drop from the Abyss, which I can't quite remember what this one is. I feel like it's probably a gem from this one, we'll see. Yeah, there is the level 5 skill gem, which is a pretty important one if I recall correctly, at least on the Merc it was.
Yeah, it's a big deal for sure. And it's also interesting for the Witch because Essence Drain tends to fall off in Ramparts, which is a very sketchy zone, and pretty much everything after Ogam is kind of tricky for all of our players, but especially on the Witch, you are super dependent on the Contagion. And I wonder if this is going to be the state of the game where he's going to fall off a little bit or if he's going to be able to keep up. We're going to switch the server on Discord just to prevent that little bit of lag, so sorry for the quick hiccup that we're about to put you guys through, but be right back real quick. And I think we're back. All right.
Okay,
An
hopefully
Abyss
that
for
is good.
Jungrum.
Hopefully that is good. If you were watching Guy That Dies fight there against the boss, you'll notice, and this happens a lot during the mercenary run, so you can keep an eye out for it, they'll try and put the bosses against the walls as much as possible, because then they can throw the grenades against the walls, and the grenades kind of bounce and just all land in place. And you end up hitting with, especially once you've got the extra grenade projectile, all 5 grenades instead of just like 2 to 3 a lot of the time, especially on the smaller or more mobile bosses. And that creates this kind of gameplay where they want to like stand against the wall and then like dodge roll just behind them right as they're doing their attacks. And it's tricky, but the damage can be really, really good from that.
Sure. And this in general, speaking of tricky, this is a very difficult part of the game. We were talking a little bit about Gas Grenade and Perfect Strike. Those gems require you to be level 14. And for that reason, XP management is incredibly crucial. This is a fixed seed race, so everybody has the same layouts. However, not everybody has the same monsters and the same monster types and rare monsters and blue monsters. And that can really throw you off in regards to your XP. And in the previous race, we saw that Angormus actually ended up spending way too much time getting through Olga Manor, wanting to get that level 14, and it cost him maybe even potentially the race. So we're gonna have to wait and see if that's gonna be an adjustment that he's gonna be able to make here. He does respawn at checkpoint, so he's actually opting to go the other way, and that also respawns the monsters as well. So oh wow, that's an interesting layout that he got. He had to actually basically clear out. I wonder if he knew all along that he had to clear out the entire zone if he was just doing that for the XP and respawn a checkpoint to pretty much immediately get to the stairs down. You can judge where you're going by the lower floors that you get to see and all of those things. And an expert racer such as Angormus definitely knows the way around this. You can even see him lifting up his chest piece. That's why he's keeping it on the cursor, because it does give him that extra 5% increased movement speed. And it's a big deal. It might not seem like a big deal for a regular playthrough, but if you do it enough in a race like this, you can save yourself even upwards of a minute. And yeah, that might be all of the difference that's going to set Angormus apart from the other players.
Not only that, but just like that time running across the bridge, those little moments where you have like 5 seconds where there's not anything else going on, taking advantage of those moments just to do some little inventory sorting, putting things in the places and doing a little bit of crafting and things like that even, which I'm trying to do that the other day. It's tricky. It's real tricky to do it while moving around. And like certain things that you try and do will like, kind of close your inventory or something as well. So you have to be a bit careful about when you're doing these things and also how you're doing them as well. But some players get even to the point where they practice being able to like preserve the momentum of their sprint while they're doing menus and able to kind of run in the background while their menus are open. So there's some nice optimization that goes into that stuff right there. But Angormus is just about to head into the boss, which is really impressive after Guy That Dies having the lead earlier in the run. Angormus kind of took over and in the second half of Act 1 has just been flying ahead of Guy That Dies. And this is the old Angormus we know and love, empowered this time by much nicer gear. And
I wonder...
Go ahead.
I wonder, I don't think he's level 14, so it's going to be a little bit of a slower fight here for Angormus, a Guy That Dies seemingly focusing a lot more on getting to level 14. It is pretty important to get that gas grenade. Angormus, though, I don't think he needs the perfect strike. This is a ton of damage. Obviously, his ignites aren't going to be nearly as big, but I think judging by the weapons that he had, he just decided that it's not worth it. Already bringing the boss to 50%, that begins the dialogue. And he's going to have to wait through this one. But yeah, that's a lot of damage. I think that's exactly what happened, right? He thought to himself, okay, my weapons are good enough. I don't really need the perfect strike. Might as well just go for the boss. And there's not really another boss coming up for quite a while. So
Yeah, in season 1 and 2, Perfect Strike was the go for the warrior all the way through for all the bosses. Just insane damage there, and we did see them using Perfect Strike early on until swapping to shield stuff later on. But with Angomis's current one-handed damage, yeah, it looks like we're just seeing the good old dual mace strike action, which looked like it was putting out similar damage to a Perfect Strike anyway. But he does get an unlucky and pretty early poetry phase there, and hopefully the only one gets kind of just jagged by the first of that wolf one, but is back on the ball for his movement here. This phase is nice to just try and refill those flasks, and if you're doing it right, you are gaining net positive flask charges and not taking too much damage, hopefully, as you move through here. Easier said than done. But Angomis handling things, well, he gets hit a few times, but that flask is looking nice and full, and I don't expect him to have too many issues here, but he does a nice pre-placement of the Frost Bomb there. He's forced to move by the Meteor Strike, but does manage to stay on top of him, and hopefully he can... Oh, I saw a nice little block there as well, actually.
That was
cool.
neat, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of weaving that one in for the little bit of extra, the daze on the boss as well, to get that stun a little bit earlier. He's standing in an iffy spot there, but he does manage to roll out of the way just at the last moment. He knows what he's doing. He's comfortable using those extra flasks to stay in and do a bit more damage. Lots of being forced away by the Meteor Strike here. Immediately placing that Frost Bomb down again. Oh, I get the stun interrupting the phase there. That should close out the fight for him just about, unless we get a very unlucky... I don't even want to cast a Cursed It. I'm not even going to say it. No, he's got it. Oh, there we go. Very nice.
Nicely done. Meanwhile, we have a newcomer to the stream, Lightspeed Cake, on a Sorceress in the bottom right for you guys, already fighting phase 2. So, not a person that's streaming. We are using our casting tool to see what's happening. Yeah. And an unfortunate ad phase, but looking strong. I gotta say, especially on a Sorceress, really impressive as Jungrown on that Witch, only now beginning his fight. A little bit of inventory management, a lot of gems for Jungrown. Looking strong, looking good. Guy that dies. First phase GNR as well. A lot of players super close in Act 1.
Yeah, the Ember Fusillade doing some nice damage for Lightspeed Cake, and they do get the kill before the Witch, Chungrowan, who's still just only starting that first phase there. So the competition between the Witch and the Sork heating up. I'm very excited. I hope to see both of these two races, Jung and Lightspeed Cake, or maybe even some of the others, have a really nice race here, because I want to see some big competition. Chungrowan getting hit by one of the Meteor Slams there. Not ideal. Oh, and by the swipe. He's getting a lot of pressure put on that medium flask there. He's not got the bigger flask either, which is going to be a little bit dodgy for him in the second phase, unless he can kind of just like take a deep breath and calm down and not get hit so much. Even the edge of the icicle slam there too. A bit rough for Jung. Meanwhile, Guy That Dies moving into a poetry phase. I hope this is only the first one for Guy. That's a halfway life bar poetry phase there.
Absolutely is very tricky, especially if you are that Witch. You're always trying to manage your HP versus how much damage you're putting out on every class. But especially on a Witch, you're running the risk of dying and cutting it a little bit too close. But Jungrown making sure that he is remaining safe. And I gotta say, a huge improvement compared to last week's race. We had to pretty much take him off the cast pretty quickly last time around because he wasn't able to keep up with the other players. This time, he's put in the work, and in just a week, it seems like he might be taking a top spot here if he continues his run like this.
The way that you say that is so brutal. We had to take him off the cast to put him out of
Get him off!
We are ruthless when it comes to spectating the top racers. If they are falling behind, they're out of there. Get out of there. But Guy That Dies and Angomis certainly not in that position, as they are moving into their Act 2 fights here, with Angomis getting a really nice damage on Wrathbreaker there. Huge ignite, thanks to the perfect strikes. I think he has actually got the perfect strike on now, so has swapped that now at this point.
Yep, you can see that it is a pretty big damage upgrade for sure. That perfect strike is absolutely worth it if you can get it. But a Forge Maul, he's going to be picking it up, and Gorm is really having also an abundance of currency thanks to that box earlier on. You can already see that he's beginning to store it, and he's going to be using it whenever he runs into a problem. Resistance is becoming a much bigger issue in Act 2, but especially in Act 3 and Act 4. Our players are already thinking about those latter stages and some of the especially difficult bosses that we're going to be seeing in the future. Lightning damage being the primary focus, or lightning resistance being the primary focus in Act 2. But obviously, you're always looking out to get as much as possible and to be as prepared as possible.
I'm actually going back for Candlemas, which we haven't seen this in
I'm
some
seeing
time.
it, yeah.
Yeah, Candlemas gives the extra life, and this used to be a strategy of going back for Candlemas after completing Geonor to get that extra life. And I'm thinking that it might be important for the Infernalist. Like, it's not something we see on any other class at this point. So the fact that Jung's doing it on the Witch maybe is an Infernalist-specific thing, perhaps. As I don't know exactly what the play is there. It's definitely an unusual choice otherwise.
Yeah, interesting, and not really a whole lot of loot for him, so he's definitely commits a lot of time there. Wonder if it's going to end up working out for him in the long run, but it is something that he probably has practiced a pretty significant amount, and through that, he deems it worth it.
Yeah, chat's saying that Jung might not be ascending even. I didn't see anything beyond like Act 2 runs, but I wasn't sure whether he'd be ascending or not. And maybe not. So it could be more of just like a life safety thing down there as well.
We did see Witches ascending in the previous race, so going for that demon form, and it was pretty effective. It makes for a pretty interesting watch time too, because it's super sketchy. Cool. In the past, you were definitely able to get so much more energy shield, and now you're always trying to micromanage your flasks and the amount of HP that you're losing whenever you are using that demon form, which is pretty much always, as it grants you tremendous amounts of mobility and pretty good damage on top of it too. Definitely making up for the amount of time that you're spending running through the trial of Sekamas, which doesn't really give you a lot of XP and it doesn't really give you a lot of gear, but it is very good in regards to making the run just so much faster. Nice rare wand also dropping for Junggrown on Gormus, already trying to get to the mine, and Guy that dies only now making it over to the quarry, I believe.
Sarge in the background, who is on the monk, just yet. As an update, is just about to beat their Geonor fight. Did get a late poetry phase, which was really unlucky. But that was after some huge damage output with some perfect strike and Sarge's maces, and damage overall has been really good on the monk here. So I'm hoping to see them kind of stay in the race and keep competing as we move into Act 2 for them. But they should be taking down Geonor any moment now in the background.
I gotta say, Lightspeed Cake looking so strong on this sorceress. It is super effective. Contagion still holding up. The essence drain is super strong. Nice management in regards to trying to chain it between packs, trying to maximize the damage. We've got an Abyss coming up, and you really see that this is the content that Essence Drain Contagion shines on. And yeah, I'm super impressed how well it's holding up at this stage of the game. And a little bit of it does get kind of weird around the ramparts, but now he's definitely powered up. And I love to see it. It's so cool to see that casters are seemingly finally competitive.
Yeah, I love to see it. We only saw Warrior and Merc last week, and this time we're seeing Witch, Monk, and Sorceress all at the same time on top of the Warrior Mercenary competition, which is really, really cool to see. And not only that, but like Witch and Sorcerer and nipping at the tails of the Warriors and Mercenaries, which is crazy. If they've figured out their late game, then we could have a very exciting race on our hands. Interestingly, in the top left, Angormus actually taking on like generic strongboxes, which is something they'll usually avoid unless they're hurting for experience or in particular zones where they're trying to make up some extra experience. And the Muldoon Mines is certainly a place to do that. In fact, XP management through Act 2 is just so crucially important. We'll see races looking for very specific breakpoints as they move through various zones. Even things like, I need level 22.5 here. I kind of want to be 23 3/4 by the time I leave this zone. If I'm anything less than 22 here, it starts to snowball negatively for them. So there's lots of specific XP management things they're doing, and even taking on extra strong boxes and stuff like that can make all the difference to kind of just like get things back in order. Oh, a Trepiner there for Angormus, and does throw it on. It's actually unusual just to see a unique even get used in the race, but Angormus has picked it up there. I'm gonna
Classic
have to have a little look
Angormus.
at that one. Yeah. Angormus
I think
having
he
a much nicer race this time.
didn't you also say that he had a unique ring that he found previously?
It ended up
I'm not.
being it ended up being a charm. It's the ruby charm that grants up to your maximum rage on use
Oh,
when you take fire damage. I'm like, okay, yeah. I
damn,
mean, why wouldn't you chuck that on, right? It's like
that's
actually
pretty
even just
good.
having the fire resist is nice. Like getting early fire res is pretty tricky here, especially because they really want to be looking for cold and lightning res for a bit later in the race. So it can be difficult, and you can just end up missing fire res that whole time. So getting that ruby there was really good. He gets a free support gem, tier 2 support gem there as well, which is nuts, and immediately spends that one. So Angoma's feeling pretty happy there. After using the Trephinov for like a minute, he immediately takes it back off in favor of a studded great club with cold damage. Interesting to see. I'm trying to figure out like why.
Man,
Like it actually looks pretty good to me. It's decent damage at this point and about the same attack speed. So surprisingly goes back to the just cold damage basic mace there.
yeah, and I gotta say, our Sork was the first person to enter the Maudun mine, and most likely will be the first person to get to the boss.
Crazy.
And it's super interesting to see how effective Essence Drink Contagion. Ooh, as I caster cursed them a little bit, but it is really interesting to see how, with the effectiveness of it on the Abyss, they're able to save themselves so much time that it really puts them pretty significantly ahead compared to, for instance, Jungrown, who spent so much time in Act 1 that, oh, not quite first to the boss, actually. Actually, wait, we have 3 players at the boss at the same time. Okay,
And almost insane catch up there.
that's
Good
crazy.
perfect
Yeah,
strike.
perfect layout read, too. Because I definitely noticed that Lightspeed Cake was struggling a little bit with the layout. The guy that dies already takes down his boss, and
Oh,
Gorm
and
is a
Gormus.
tremendous amount of damage.
Oh my lord, and Gormus's perfect strikes. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. So beautiful.
They're
Every
big.
perfect strike there, just absolutely perfectly timed. Uh, and taking advantage of like those between like the little immunity phases and things like that, where she changes weapons and stuff, and still just nailing it every time. Oh, you love to see it. I love the perfectly executed perfect strike warrior boss fight. Very juicy there, but yeah, Ngoma's getting good reads, good progression, and catching up to the Lightspeed Cake there. Which, man, just even saying, Ngoma's catching up those words coming out of my mouth. This is crazy. This is gearing up to be. I don't want to call it too early, but like, this is looking like one of the most exciting races we've ever had in terms of what's
This
going
is
on
going to
right
be
now.
close. And I'm
It
looking
is,
at Lightspeed Cake's gear too, and it's really good. He's got multiple pieces of gear with double resistances. He's got HP on just about every piece of gear, you know, a little bit of mana here and there. Very importantly, 15% movement speed boots, so that 5% that we were talking about, that makes such a huge difference. He's already got it. On top of obviously being able to manage the chest piece. And I'm not even sure. Actually, he's using a energy shield chest piece, which I think is only a 3% penalty there. So it's slightly better than armor too. But, you know, without armor and with the just mostly relying on energy shield, I wonder if it's going to be able to be sufficient enough defenses for him to stay alive, as mostly everybody else is opting to go for armor. Obviously, you don't want to be picking up strength necessarily if you are playing an int character, but you are able to squeeze it here and there, and yet opting to not go for that, as Jungrown desperately trying to catch up now on the witch. He most likely is the number 1 witch. We are trying to track XP. We're trying to track where everybody is in the zone, but quite frankly, it's close. It's close between a lot of
crazy.
players. I see 5 players, 6 players at least at level 17, a bunch more at level 16. So not quite sure about their progression. We're gonna have to scan through all of our different competitors. But I gotta say, a much closer race compared to last week's, and it seems like
Absolutely.
everybody got inspired and they've been practicing, and it really shows.
So I was puzzling the fact that Angomas wasn't using Trefina when it's a strong weapon, and chat reminded me of the classic warrior conundrum of you don't want to be dealing too much damage on the warrior in the early game here, because yes, if your stun build-up is too much, you will get the stun on the first hit with Rolling Slam, and you won't be able to use Bone Shatter, which just destroys your clear speed. So Trefina actually has really good damage, but also has increased stun build-up, which is, it's a positive thing normally, But it does mean that you can't really like get those bone shatters properly until at least
Look
the mobs
how
get a bit stronger. And yeah, look exactly right there. Like his rolling slam kills the mobs. They're not like they're getting stunned right away. He's not able to follow up with the bone shatter except on any of like the tougher enemies. He's
yeah,
trying
I gotta interrupt you real quick because we're gonna be going to the next zone. But if you look at the layout, guy that dies and Angormas, I'm not sure if this is due to the collaborations that they're having constantly with layout reads, but the way that they cleared the zone was literally identical. Their layout looks exactly the same in terms of the reveal. They've made all of the correct decisions in the same way, and they've made all of the mistakes in the exact same way. It's so interesting to see how a practice racer is able to kind of replicate this 100% of the time. Really nicely done by both of our top contenders so far. Although our Cirque player not far behind, our Monk player seemingly catching up, and then we've also got Junggrown on that witch trying to stay in the race.
So I'm looking at Gormaz's inventory, and he's actually removed his gloves. Those gloves with the damage and +1 gems, he's removed them so that the Trefner is doing kind of like the right amount of damage and not too much. So he's actually taken those off, and we'll like just chuck them on for the bosses. But these like on the fly kind of like figuring out how to make things work in an unusual situation like this, like you just can't practice for like how much damage you have with a Trefner, and if you have 2 good gloves, you know, how do you optimize that in the run to not just like screw yourself up. So I love to see that on the fly. Creative problem solving there, very cool.
Super cool for sure. And if there's somebody who's experienced all of the issues that something like that presents, it would be Angormas, an extremely practiced warrior player.
Exactly.
And he's got an Abyss right here. And we might as well explain it. It's because of the bone shatter, right? So you're setting up the mobs for the prime stun, I think it's called, and then you use bone shatter, which results in a giant AoE around them, and that's why sometimes you'll be seeing also our players, whenever there's a boss with ads, you'll be seeing that they're trying to get the ads on top of the boss, because that will essentially shotgun the boss and just result in so much damage. But for the most part, it is about clear, as Warrior's other abilities don't have a whole lot of AoE, so he has to use that combo to get through things. Mercenary comes in with a whole different set of issues, and that's going to be the delay on the grenades. That tends to be pretty annoying, but fortunately, AoE is not something that a mercenary gets to complain about.
Yeah, and Gorma's picking up a fire resistance essence there, which you both want the essence and the extra rare kill. Differently to Path of Exile 1 racing, where like rare monsters were often skipped because they just often weren't worth it. Rares are really good here in the Path of Exile 2 racing, and they'll be taking out rares a lot of the time unless they're just like really brutal, because the loot that they drop is insane, but also they are quite good experience here and pretty crucial part of the strategy of maintaining the XP as you move through the zones. Interesting thing about the Halani gates is the Abyss in here is really quite good, and oh, nice researchers strongbox with extra quantity for guy that dies there. But there is a particular kind of like tech with the NPC that follows you, and if you kind of like rush through and don't kill all the statues at the start, she won't be with you, but you can reset her at the there's a little side area with a rare minion that you can take down, and that will kind of reset her and bring her along with you so that you can continue the zone. But if you want to do the Abyss, you really want her to be with you that whole time, so you'll spend a little bit of time extra killing the statues. Damn, God, that does damage on jump and run.
What am I
instantly? Whoa!
What am I looking at? That was so quick. I mean, you don't even have to bring the boss so far low, but he's just like chucked in a couple extra grenades, and Jamanra is absolutely obliterated.
Very, very nice. Just 10 for the later encounter there, getting plenty of time to sort their inventory here out, loading up the base plates with some jewelry for crafting later, or resistance swaps for specific bosses. Often you'll find...
Not quite sure if Ziggy's lagging again. I think so.
No.
Oh, we're back. I'm also watching our Sork player do Jamanra here, and I gotta say, the single target is pretty serious. Really nicely done by Lightspeed Cake, already down to the ad phase. This was something that I was expecting. They are currently rank 1 on the ladder, so not only are they getting a ton of XP from those abysses thanks to Essence Drain Contagion, but I kind of thought that the single target is going to be something that's going to be holding the Sork back, but that is absolutely not the case here. And it results in a really quick Jamanra kill on top of everything, too. Yeah, we're having a...
And Gobbs is making me so nervous because he's having such a good run, but he's also been going low so many times. Like, oof. And Warriors game does get a lot safer as they go. Normally, because they're stacking up quite a bit of armor, they got a bit of extra stun resilience from the tree. Things get usually pretty sturdy for them compared to the mercenaries. But man, Angomas has just been risking that 2.5 minute, and he just cannot afford a 2.5 minute upset right now. So,
so interesting. Look. Angormus types in ladder again. Not the first time he's done it either.
Yeah, he's watching.
So he's definitely paying attention to his XP. You did talk about how important it is in regards to the levels, and I'm really wondering if our caster players are going to be able to save themselves a run or two on the Dreadnought, thanks to the fact that they're just able to get XP earlier, and if that's going to be something that they're going to be able to catch up with, as we're about to witness some single target from Guy That Dies in the top right. How much is he able to do here to Kabbalah? That's pretty good single target, I gotta say. It's looking quite spicy.
So Guy That Dies, I see, is using the pin tech. So this was something that they were initially kind of like resilient against. With Crimson Cast was trying to recommend it to them, but Guy That Does was like, I don't know about that. But then after trying it, was fully sold, and I tried it myself, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. So basically, the pin support gem for the flashbang grenade, instead of using it to build stun, actually using it to build pin, which pops way sooner and keeps monsters in place and interrupts a lot of abilities and things like that. Technically, things are not like stunned, but in many cases, it means they're not like flying across the arena or things like that, which is really good for grenades, just keeping them in place. So the pin being just a huge improvement for grenades, where monsters not moving around so much and being able to lock them down is just such a big deal. But not only that, we're starting to see a bit more of the gas grenade tech, which gas grenade gets favored as much as possible with that better cooldowns and nice damage output. And whenever the mob is ignited with your explosive grenades, they'll basically just gas grenades as possible, using the ignite on the mob to instantly pop them.
Yeah, and it's super good because it self-propels once you have that ignite going, and it's just so effective. But I gotta say, Lightspeed Cake remains true to their name. Their single target, I think it was the most that we've seen, and I'm looking at their gear too, and it's not crazy. I mean, it's crazy in regards to defenses, but for damage, it's a 35% spell damage staff. That's it. Nothing else. No plus levels. No crazy weapon swap +3 or anything like that. Like, no, just a regular staff, and they're still able to put out so much damage with that Ember Fusillade. So strong of a showing for our Sorceress player here, and I'm not quite sure. This might be a a observer bug. I think it is, because I'm seeing 6 unspent points, but I think that's just because probably the tool is not showing spent passive points. So if that's something that you're noticing as well, I don't think that's what's happening. Whenever you see the character kind of stop moving and you're thinking that they're AFK, that most likely means that they're opening a menu and looking at something that we're not quite privy to, and the observer tool doesn't allow us to quite show that extent of things yet.
Yeah, anything weird in the bottom right is mostly because it's not their perspective, but rather us watching them as a ghost. So it comes through a little bit differently.
Did they just spend all 6 of the points? Okay,
they might have actually just been hoarding just stats there. Okay, never mind. They were just hoarding those 6 stats there. It could have been a little bit of a respec there or something, maybe.
Yeah, it might have just been a bunch of travel nodes that weren't particularly important to spend until you reach a certain breakpoint. Okay, so sorry, I was flaming the casting tool, but no, in fact, they weren't spending their points.
Guy That Dies getting an amazing ring craft, so quite often players will be like trying to veer off to get the elemental offering guaranteed ring there to either get some cold or lightning resist. Very important moving forwards. Guy That Dies gets a cold resist ring, crafts damage on there, crafts another cold res roll. Regal's life on that ring. They are set with the end game cold resistance ring right there. It's absolutely nutty from Guy That Dies. Perfect.
Yeah, and it's so important. That zone in particular has a guaranteed 4 link, buried shrines, and then also the previously mentioned by Ziggy ring that our players are going to have to choose what type of ring they're getting, and most of them are going for a topaz to ensure that later on, whenever they're fighting a pretty spicy boss in Act 4, they're going to have sufficient amounts of lightning resistance. But also, Jamanra can be kind of a tricky fight. It's such a easy fight most of the time, but it's a little bit like the monkey that we're also going to be seeing later. It's one of those fights where you can dodge 100% of the abilities, but also 100% of the abilities can hit you. And whenever that happens in a really unfortunate way and you don't have sufficient lightning resistance, you might just die. And that's not something that any of our players can afford. Then so far, we haven't really seen a live rip at all. I'm sure players are dying behind the scenes as the race is available for everybody. But for our top players, it seems like they're really respecting the rule set.
Yeah.
And despite dying quite a lot in their practice runs, for the marathon run, they're trying their hardest to not die. And it's working for everybody so far. Guy that dies with a Azarian fight.
Yeah. Here we go. Azarian does like to move around a little bit. You can hopefully get that pin nice and early there and lock him in place as he gets this kind of like burst to finish him down. Does not manage to secure the pin before it fades off, but it looks like it's not going to matter too much as the damage output is more than enough to take down Azarian.
Okay, here we go,
very
Ziggy.
Quickly. Yeah.
Azarian for our witch player. Let's see a comparison. That was pretty good. And again, the witch doesn't really... sorry, for our sorceress player. Not a whole lot coming out from the pre-stag, but I mean, the Ember Fusillade does do pretty noticeable. Okay, the damage is pretty good. You know what?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the damage is quite... There's a bit of a delay between them, but... Oh, Lightspeed going a little low.
I really wonder, is this faster? I mean, the Kabbalah fight seemed faster. This might be how quickly you get the kill once the boss is below 50%. Seems to be a pretty big impact, but I'm not quite sure. It is really interesting. I'm not quite sure how good of a weapon Guy That Dies has. Mercenary crossbows do tend to be a little bit tricky at this stage of the game, as the level 16 weapon isn't a particularly huge upgrade from the level 10 weapon. But if you get it good enough, it will make a pretty big difference. On a witch, you're so much on a sorceress and a witch. Sorry, I keep saying witch because it's just so uncommon for us to see a sorceress. In the past, this was a class that was just considered straight up bad. It wasn't something that players were playing at all. So it's so cool to see Lightspeed Cake making it work, and not just making it work, but also potentially being a contender for the rank 1 overall spot.
It's crazy. The only thing we're not seeing is basically like what Ranger and Huntress at the moment, which we have seen in the past as well. So they've kind of like dropped down here in favor of some of the others. But an update on Sarge 2 the Monk in the background as well. They have not been falling far behind. They're only just a little bit behind at the moment, where Jungwaron's in the Lost City. Sarge 2 on the Monk is just kind of most of the way through Keth now. So kind of maintaining that similar sort of pacing warrior style on their Monk. So I've seen some perfect striking that's looking pretty chunky on the bosses there, and I'll keep you updated on the Monk's progress in the background. But we do see Angormus in the top left switching finally to the shields, which you'll see start to even rival the grenades impressively for damage if he can manage to get a good enough shield. And it gets that Jeweler's Orb there. I'll be curious to see where that one's going to go. It's immediately on the shield wall. So hopefully can get a support gem on there to enhance that damage a bit further. And I'll try and spy what his shield is looking like as well, because that was the problem last week. Was that dodgy shield? And after coming off some really good maces this time, I'm hoping that Angormus's shield is like a similar level of quality, and we could see a really good run out of him here.
Despite the fact that we're only able to show 4 players for you guys, we're keeping track of the ladder. There is a ladder on the website that you can check for yourself as well. And there are multiple Rangers and multiple Huntresses in the top 20. So not quite in the top 10. I think we have 1 in the top 10 Ranger. But for the top 20, yeah, it seems like the class still remains both of the classes still remain very, very competitive. A smooth Azarian fight for Angormus, and quite a lot of gear in his inventory. Hopefully some of it is useful, as all of our other players already getting close to the Bone Pit boss fight.
Gomez
And
has had to ditch his DPS gloves in favor of some armor-based mana leech gloves there as well. Just try and smooth that mana out. The shield is not bad. It's got a decent flat armor roll, but not much beyond that. It's not a giga DPS shield, but it happens to have a, like 50 or 40 life and some resistances as well. So he's at least looking
what is
pretty smooth on the defensive side of things.
just so we have an idea for the future, because the amount of damage that Angormus is going to be doing is going to be dependent on the amount of armor that he has on his shield, as it gives the shield wall ability a flat amount of physical damage. So how much is he having now? How much total armor
this is
on his shield?
87 armor total on his shield currently as well. So he's definitely looking to get significantly beyond that as he moves forwards. But this is certainly enough for now to be able to safely and comfortably move through fights, especially with that extra defensive layer.
Yeah, for sure. The level 28 is when another shield upgrade is going to be happening, hopefully for Angormus, if he manages to find something useful. And we were kind of talking about how important XP is in Act 2, and a big part of that is because most of our players are either going to be only really going in total in this race where you are completing Act 4. We're not doing the preludes. It's going to be level, for some players, 28, but mostly 31 and 33. So this is, in terms of gear, kind of the final stages of what we're looking at here, as Guy That Dies fighting his Iktab Ekbar fight, and it's pretty good. He wasn't able to quite hit both of them at the same time, so I had to spend a little bit more time. And oh my goodness, looking at the Essence Drain Contagion from John Groan in that statue fight, it is just so smooth, so clean.
Satisfying.
Oh, so satisfying.
Oh, that's so juicy. Certainly clear as what they do very well.
Okay.
John Groan gets that Jewel's Orb.
I didn't quite catch it because it is a little bit difficult to tap through the spectating tool and the caster tool that we have. I'm not quite able to look at everything at the same time, but I just witnessed Lightspeed Cake fight their bosses, and it was instant. Like, the bosses died instantly. So I'm not quite sure if that's because of some form of chain that they're using right now, as I'm not quite able to see the support gems, but the boss pretty much died instantly. So every now and then, this damage is looking extra crazy. If I look at the gear, they have a +1 weapon with 41 spell damage now, and a +1 shield on top of it too. So definitely a huge upgrade, +2 levels, and it's really showing in that massive amount of single target that they're able to put out on Lightspeed Cake. Sorceress looking strong, and I wonder how it's going to be able to keep up, because I don't think we've seen Sorceress ascend in previous events. So I wonder what the plan is for Act 3 and Act 4.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. If we have occasionally seen some like chromances and things on the ladder, but I just can't imagine it really making enough of a difference in the Act 4 run here. But we'll see what happens there. There's a lot unknown with the sorcery and witch race, especially in those Act 3 and 4, have been kept very tightly secret. But Guy That Dies is taking on the all-important Abyss in the Valley of Titans. This drops a guaranteed unique, and there are some good unique rings and things like that. What they really wish is that they could get a Thrill Steal here, but that unique is level 27 requirement, and this zone is 26, and the chest drops 26 unique, so they cannot get a Thrill Steal. That's the Onslaught helmet with all that movement speed and everything on there. And Gomas taking down the duo boss there very smoothly, and we'll see what unique Guy That Dies does get. Honestly, it's a little tricky to find something super good
he leaves it
on the Merc.
Does he?
No, go back and do it for
me. Last week he totally left it. He couldn't find the last mob, so he actually ended up not getting the unique. And as Ziggy mentioned previously, there is a little bit of a debate going on amongst our speedrunners. Ooh, was that an amulet? Holy, I need that for my build. This mana amulet got so nerfed.
That's a good drop right there.
It's kind of rare.
It's a big mana solve, but doesn't do much beyond that. And if you're already pretty comfortable, if your damage is good on the mercenary, you're not having too many mana problems or kind of falling behind and your damage is really bad. That's when you start running into those mana issues. So it's kind of like a safety net item maybe at best. But it is kind of like a rare and nice drop, even if it's not someone that's super useful for him there. But
Lightspeed Cake.
Everyone else gets.
Lightspeed Cake already in the Titan Grotto. I'm paying close attention to what's happening for them here. Essence Drain still putting out a tremendous amount of damage. Yeah, they're super speedy. Only 307 life, which has me a little bit scared. Again, it might be a situation where this setup is super strong in Act 1, and hopefully it's going to be strong enough in Act 2, Act 3, and Act 4, but I am worried about not necessarily their damage output, that's been looking great, but mostly their survivability. We will be seeing a lot of our players skipping a lot of monsters in Act 3 and Act 4, and I just really wonder if Sork is able to keep up. In the last week, Shackle Coach, who isn't able to participate this week, was able to claim rank 1 Witch on the Infernalist, and survivability was looking crazy. Like, he was barely able to stay alive, and pretty much as soon as he got to Act 3, he fell off really hard just because he wasn't able to keep up. He had the mobility, he had the damage, but the survivability was something that really held them back, and that is the huge advantage of a warrior as they get to use a shield. And hopefully our mercenary players aren't going to be running into too many survivability issues because they are able to use armor, just not a shield.
Yeah, I'll definitely have some comments on that depending on where we see like the health and defenses of the mercenaries get, because it can make a big difference in Act 4 in particular as to kind of where they get in certain boss fights. But we'll come back to that later. Angormus is taking on the Abyss right now. I was just kind of like paying some extra attention to what Angormus has been doing as he's just started falling behind a little bit behind Lightseed Cake, which is nuts on the sorcerers there. But the shield wall is looking very nice, of course. So the build, as you're seeing here, is shield wall with the totem detonating it, but also using shield charge when kind of moving through packs to place a wall and then burst through the shield charge, and later on some war cries as well to pop those shield walls. It's just as much.
Okay, here we go, Ziggy.
All right,
boss fight coming up for Lightspeed Cake. How is this going to look like for our player? This is a fight the mercenaries especially struggle with a little bit because of the grenades falling off the platform, so you have to have some expert play. But for Sorceress, pre-stacking the Ember Fusillade.
Yeah, charging up for the big first damage.
Oh my, okay, that's a lot of damage. That's huge.
It's like a perfect strike worth of damage, ignite included. Pretty good.
It's pretty much a 3-shot.
Oh, mate. And that's without the frost bomb. The frost bomb comes down for the next one, and then the follow-up hit is just even bigger. Yeah, it's just under 3 shots, just over 3 shots worth of damage to take down the boss there. That is insanely quick. I don't know if we've seen that. Like, or maybe like the top perfect strike runs.
I mean, you can compare it now.
Done that.
Guy that dies begins his fight.
This is and like Rise was saying, this is a tough one for Merc here with the grenades being a little bit tricky to position. But of course, Guy that dies has got that practice and should be able to position them perfectly here. Doing the lateral placement of the grenades across the arena so that they don't fall off quite as much.
Nicely done so far. He has to dodge a little bit. The big problem is that you're not able to utilize the armpit strategy because you're not able to stand in the armpit. But I gotta say, the damage output really ramps up towards the end of that fight. And it's looking pretty strong.
Good, yeah, very competitive. I mean, I was under the grenades were the top DPS for bossing, bar none at this point. But Zork has something to say about that theory, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Crazy, but that dies as well. And oh man, Angormus is just getting stacked up with everything. Looks like their unique from the earlier zone was like the unique mace.
Our Sork player Regal 16
guy is trolling me. He put the chance shard in the stash. I think last week I said something about chance shards, and the racers are like, oh yeah, we're gonna stash our chance shards for later. So he's made a Ziggy shard tab for me. Thanks, God. That's great, mate. Appreciate that.
Nice. Love to hear it. Meanwhile, Lightspeed Cake getting 16% cast speed on his +1 41 spell damage. Withered Wand. Ooh, has to go for a little bit of a reset there. Pretty sketchy situation. And yeah, those gaps in survivability already showing as has to go for the reset. I am a little bit worried for our Sork player here. I'm a little bit worried for Jungwon too. He's definitely keeping up. He's going for the gaming. He is going to have to ascend pretty soon. Let's see how the single target's also going to be looking like for Angormus.
Yeah, we're actually seeing Sarge has overtaken Jungwon at this point. So while Jungwon had been in the lead, the monk player, Sarge too, has overtaken Jung. So we might actually want to swap the perspectives around here so that we can check out the monk's Titan Grotto.
Oh yeah, let's
as
go.
well. There we go. Let's have a look here. And I'll keep you updated on Jungro and the Witch in the background, since the Witch and Sork competition is somewhat similar with in theory, the builds being, well, I thought they would be similar, but honestly, it looks like they've diverged quite a bit. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'll keep you updated on the Witch in the background. But meanwhile, Sarge 2 taking the top spot, and Angormus moving into his boss fight as well. Pre-stacking those shield walls, getting ready for some big booms. Nice opening damage there. Oh, it's so juicy.
It's
That's pretty
big.
good. That is pretty good, mate.
Yeah, he's relying on the seismic totem for those explosions. The totem gets moved out of the way.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That looks cool.
Wow, that was like faster than the grenades. I mean, this is a tougher fight for the grenades. They can't quite like wall stack or anything. But like that was, I'm checking. Did he upgrade his shield? Because that was. Let me have a look here. Oh, that's that same 87 shield. So if he gets a better shield than that, then we are looking at some big damage from Angormus.
For sure. You can get upwards of like 300. So in this event, obviously not in Act 2 quite yet, but pretty soon as Jungro going for the unique item. Let's see where he's going to get here. I think Sarge is almost at his boss. I'm too invested in this unique item from Jungro. Oh no! Yes. Apparently, in the meanwhile, as I was talking about the survivability, Lightspeed Cake dies on the Sorceress. No. Has to wait out that 2.5 minutes. We're not going to be able to get you guys a replay either because they're not streaming. So
there's no replay to be had there, really.
Yeah, so those gaps in survivability already showing. Despite the amazing gear, they died in the Shar pretty much immediately after we swapped out. So
I think like they were far enough ahead that like unless their later acts are going to be much slower, they're still in the running though. Like 2.5 minutes is a huge setback, especially with how close this race has been. But they're still going to be running for top Sork here, and Angormus, of course, will be overtaking now as they were getting pretty close to catching up to Lightspeed Cake, and now Angormus has a clean run through to take the lead off of them. Well, actually, no, I should say
the dice is rank 1 still.
That dice is still there. Yes. Takes
here
seconds.
We go, Sarge. No ribs this time around. Let's see how is this monk damage going to look like? Mostly running from the looks of it, a warrior type of setup.
Yeah, we're gonna check in on Drizz too as well. So we'll check Sarge's fight here and then have a look at where Drizz is at. Because
Sarge with a terrible opening. He gets stunned out of his perfect strike.
No. Not what you want. Interesting. No shield swap. Oh, Sarge, you're just eating that entire barrage, mate. Come on.
I like that though,
Sarge. Yeah, I mean,
he was able to put out so much damage during that. Everybody always dodges it, and I think that's maybe a strategy that more players should be going for. 526 HP, proving to be enough.
I can take it. He's just ignoring the boss and just doing his own plan, right? I love it. Okay, nice. All right, we have to check in on Drizz if we can, because apparently Drizz might be kind of taking a bit of a leadership role here right now. Oh, we do. We see Drizz in the spires right now.
Let's
Very
go.
Nice. Okay, and it looks like they're a good halfway through, if not more, already. So Drizz sneaking up and overtaking Guy That Dies, no less. So the mercenary competition is certainly insane. That puts even more pressure on Angormus right now.
Lightspeed Cake back on the move. 2.5 minute penalty. Huge cost, but I wonder if this will allow them to maybe reflect on their play or if their strategy will remain consistently rippy. We definitely shouldn't be switching away from this player. They might be more rips here. If they're already struggling in Act 2, man, I have some serious concerns. And the gear is good. He's got a lot of resistances, but it mostly boils down to the amount of HP. You're just so reliant on the 108 energy shield that he's having. 400, not even HP. No armor. The final letter found. Nicely done in terms of the layout read, but will it be enough to stay in this race? Obviously, again, friendly reminder, they're competing against their own classes. Right? It's not a race for rank 1, it's a class race, guys. But to see how close it is for rank 1 across so many different classes.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, You're even if you're second, but you still win your class, I would say that's a win. You're rank 1. That's what you're going for. But to see
Mm,
how diverse it is here, it's cool to see that, so many players were just expecting, oh, it's going to be another warrior fiesta. It's not just the warrior fiesta. There's mercenaries. There's even the rangers and the huntresses. They're still keeping up. No rake, and the spear abilities are still holding up quite well. As we have Guy that dies beginning his Torgul fight.
Same
I
time as my
can't.
Driz right now as well. Also, it seems that Whole New Society might be pretty close to them too. I'll try and keep tabs on them in the background, but they're not streaming, so it's a little bit harder to keep an eye on them. But looks like the race for the Torgul fight is very spicy right now, as both Mercs putting out just massive amounts of damage there, and my Driz getting the fight just slightly before Guy that dies. It's a nice boss for the Mercs, as you can actually just put the grenades in the middle of the arena. They don't fall down the hole, thankfully.
This is amazing to see. Driz is a player who has been extremely competitive in the previous races, but I don't think he won any of them. Despite that, he always stayed on what he considered the top class and what most players consider a top class, always aiming for rank 1, never faltering, never switching to maybe a less competitive class to go for that demi. He wants the rank 1 overall, and currently he's in the lead in a race that really is turning out to be a lot more spicy than initially anticipated. Junggrown on the Witch. Oh, you guys can't actually see it, but he's currently fighting with the Bone Storm on the Titan, and I gotta say, it's not looking nearly as strong as the Sork. So I'm not quite sure if the Witch is going to be able to keep up in the future, but we're already up to the Dreadnought for both Driz and Guy that dies, and I really wonder how much XP they're going to be able to squeeze out from this zone, trying to most likely get level 28, the biggest level in the entire game. And a big reason why mercenaries are so strong is that bombarding crossbow that you get at level 33. So XP is just so important, even to the point where most of our warrior players, and probably Angormus, is only going to go for 31. So you're going to have to spend extra time to get 2 extra levels, and it still pays off with the amount of single target from that extra projectile that you get with the bombarding.
So, update for our third place Whole New Society Mercenary is just finished their Torgul fight, so they're a little bit behind, but really not too far. But I will say their damage looked even better than the other mercenaries, so the single target is looking really good, and they're looking to have a bit of a 3-way battle for Mercenary here. So we'll try and keep tabs on all of them, while simultaneously keeping tabs on, the lead Witch, the lead Sork, and the Merc, and the Monk. We've got a few things to keep tabs on all at the same time here, as well as Angormus in the top left, of course, moving through, and not one to be discounted yet at this point, but with the Mercs taking the lead. And Raz was talking about that bombard, and in particular at this point, like they'll be hoarding as much currency as possible to try and craft and fish for bombards, just to get that really insane one as much as possible as well, moving forwards from this point onwards. And it looks like XP is looking pretty good for each of the Mercs as well too. I was keeping tabs on that, so when they were heading through Dashar, you really want to be like level 25 minimum, otherwise things start to snowball badly for you. We saw like level 25, level 26 entrances from there, and people leaving at 27-ish, which is about where you want to be. So looking pretty comfortable there. And they want to be trying to close out with a nice like level 28 or something here through the Dreadnought. And I'll keep an eye on how it looks like. It's 27 3/4 for Driz, I believe.
Yeah, and it's also super important that you pay attention to your items at this stage, because the Shar is the first level 28 zone, so you begin to drop a lot of your final bases, not just in regards to your weapons, but also your armor gear pieces. So for the warrior, obviously the shield is a pretty massive component, but having enough armor to make a clean waterways run.
Oh, that might be the end of Lightspeed's presence on the stream now, as they have their second death after such a phenomenal Act 1 and 2 up to this point. 2 deaths back to back is not going to be seeing them taking the lead now. I was very impressed to see what they were doing on the Sorcerer, so we'll have to keep an eye on them in the background, but that is a big upset for them. So Lightspeed is going to be falling 5 minutes behind on deaths at this point, and that is just not something you can afford with how close and tight this race has been. But man, that Sork action though, the damage, the speed, the clear speed, whoo-hoo. I definitely want to see what they do in the later acts.
He really pushed it to the limits, honestly,
Yeah,
because I was
absolutely.
so impressed with the damage. But then the survivability, despite the really good items, I was thinking that maybe it's going to be enough. It wasn't quite. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, Lightspeed Cake will fall here. But again, we will be keeping tabs on them as Driz begins his Jomanra fight. Already up to the ad phase. Guy that dies beginning his fight as he's doing a little bit of passive point management. And Gormus taking down Torgul. And let's see what kind of damage
Yeah, I
we're
think
able
we'll
to
want to
put out
use the
here for the
spectating
mercenaries.
in the bottom right with Whole New Society if we can. Camera crew in the background there because they are not too far behind the other merc. Three-way merc battle now. We checking in on Sarge briefly, heading through to Shah. So Sarge just slowly falling behind there on the monk, but they're definitely looking on very good pace for a solid monk action to the shield strategy as well. So mirroring the warrior gameplay there too.
Nice damage coming up from Driz. His weapon double socketed, so pretty strong. Takes down the boss. Let's see what can Guy that Dies do here. I gotta stop calling him Guy that Dies, because he really rarely dies. He's a super prominent PoE1 speedrunner as well. And I gotta say, he rarely dies. He doesn't really die a whole lot. Pretty big hardcore player.
Name is doing its job there. I think it's it's like a totem to ward off the bad juju there on the
he's somebody who's been in the scene for PoE speedrunning for probably like 8 years or something. So it might be one of those things where he got the name initially as he got into speedrunning, and it just stuck. But he's not really staying true to it. Not dying, I don't believe, a single time in the previous race. And his Germanra fight so far. Wait, what happened? He's redoing it.
Oh, he had a reset. I am not sure what the cause of that one was, but it looks like he had a reset for some reason.
It could have been mana flasks, because sometimes, even though gas grenades are a lot better now with the recent patch, mana cost is a lot more under control. But if prior to 0-3 you've played a crossbow gas grenade mercenary, you might have ran out of mana in this fight for sure.
If that was mana, that's really funny because he vended the mana amulet that he found earlier.
Oh,
and to meme on me, no less. He only did it. Like, he could have kept it. It's only one space in the inventory. He could have kept it as an insurance policy, but he vended it because he wanted to put a chance shard in the Ziggy's chance shard tab.
Driz is fighting Root Dredge. What is happening? Are we getting memed on?
Driz had a clean run through it at the same time while the guy that dies was forced to reset. Driz was slightly ahead and they did get that clean, no comments to be said, Jamin kill, which is exactly what you want, right? You don't want to have any comments there. And guy that dies the second phase is going very smooth there. We see just insane damage output on the larger and more stationary second form there. Even without the pin is not really needed at all to take down that Jamin very cleanly. And guy that dies will be moving through in Act 2 as well. Just only a minute behind Driz, currently leading. And we do have Whole New Society in the bottom right now as well, who's also very close. So just 3 mercs putting out some, I don't know how many times we've seen 3 people competing this close.
Look, he's out of mana too. Having to auto-attack towards the end of this fight.
That's a little rough. He's close enough though to finish it out. Just running right out at the very end there. Maybe that damage.
Okay, caught that. But
tap on the flask.
He instantly takes off his chest piece because he knows he's going to be doing a little bit of running here. Nice. So he instantly takes it off and doing a little bit of inventory management. You can see it show up on his cursor. But yeah, a quick introduction maybe for a whole new...
Driz goes down. I think it was from the rares in the Abyss. So deadly. What's their health?
Oh
600?
No!
It's even that's even pretty fine for this point. So that was just a brutal run into the rares there. That's 2.5 minute penalty for Driz after leading the mercenary race. Oh no, that's going
huge.
To be a huge setback for them with how close the mercenary race is going to be in this race. I mean, I will say though, mercenaries are the ones we're going to see die the most. So if the others are going to have a death, it could still be coming. So Driz definitely should not be doing any early taps at this point.
Because, compared to Warrior anyway.
Yeah, yes, compared to Warrior. And Gormus, in theory, having a very safe Act 3 and 4. Though we did see Gormus die last week to the giant bird in Act 4. So we are hopefully not having a repeat of that again. I'd like to see Warwick kind of have that nice clean run through, and Gormus has kind of chiseled out a place in my heart with his
have been
efforts in the previous
corrected.
seasons.
I've mentioned how Angormus has died in every single one of the races, and apparently it was untrue because Angormus in fact didn't die one time. One time he survived the race. Okay, I was wrong one time.
And I think you were saying he died to like the boss, some specific boss or something, and he was like, "Actually, no."
It was fake news.
I was a mail boy, like sending letters between Ryze and Angormus about Angormus's complaints about Ryze's casting after that. So
it's canon in my head.
Quarrel.
It's canon in my head. He died. Listen, he died in every race. Okay, fake news. I think Angormus might be lying.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No, I'm gonna just put you guys in the group chat and then leave so you can have your tiff, quarrel without me. I don't want to be any part of this. I am not involved.
Looking at the timer for Driz and another 20 seconds to go. Such a massive struggle. Meanwhile, Whole New Society, a player who I think we've seen them play on Ranger. We've seen them play on Sork. I think we've seen a Witch. We've seen a Warrior. He really is playing everything now, sticking to the Mercenary. And it is looking good as he will be the first person to enter the town in Act 3 after getting that guaranteed 4-link. So the second 4-link that they're getting here, the ZIGGYD encampment has been entered. And that's going to be Whole New Society, who proves to be the better player in regards to Act 2. A little bit of inventory management is what he's going for there. Gorm is still fighting his Jamanra, his single target noticeably better than it was last week, but still leaves quite a lot to desire compared to the Mercenary.
So sturdy though, not even worried, non-flinching, full mana flask, full life flask, literally no concerns, no sweat at all for Angormus. We have a rip clip here for Drizz's rip, I believe. So we can play that now. Just quickly slot that in before anyone has any monkey fights. quick.
Yeah, quick.
Let's not miss anything. All right. So, it was. Oh my god.
Oh wow.
Those rares were so scary. It's like
he committed,
and the fire, and oh man, yeah, that probably should have been a reset there. But he was so far away. Like I can see, feeling like he could get away, but. Those big squid things from the abysses are just so scary. I died to them like 6 times in my practice run. Every time I'd run into abyss, I'd like, I don't know. I died on more abysses than I didn't. It's real tough doing those under-leveled, under-geared, everything you're doing in the race. So
those
spicy.
Things really don't mess around. It is kind of odd that he died to the Ignite.
Oh, you have to kill him though, because like you need that Abyss XP. You need the items from them. Abyss has just been such a huge thing for the race. It's actually going to be interesting to see what happens next season when Abyss kind of like takes a bit of a back seat. If the new league mechanic has as much of an impact, like it's going to be fascinating to see what happens season to season in the racing. But we do see Guy That Dies and Whole New Society moving through. I don't know. I've been hearing rumblings that like Guy was saying he might skip Monkey. So we'll see what happens there. I hope not. I want to see monkeys.
Can't quite remember. There was a 3-people race from Zizaran that I also casted in, and I'm pretty sure that the Guy That Dies' team
it's got flattened.
There was like a huge struggle. Like they were almost out of the race because if the entire team died, you were just out of the race entirely. It was like a team hardcore race
or something.
And I can't remember if Guy That Dies was the one who saved everybody or if he was the one who fed the monkey. As we've got, what am I looking at?
Whole New Society died to the monkey. No!
Wait, he is dead. Oh my, I totally missed it. I'm like, okay, let's tab. And I'm looking and Whole New Society is just standing still. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Okay, we're gonna.
Yep. I mean, we'll often miss the things on the fourth perspective there because it's like in the background for us if we're looking at the others.
Yeah, it's tough. We need a better setup, more monitors.
Oh no.
Well, it seems like things are going well for Guy That Dies, as he is the only mercenary that isn't dying. Again, not really staying true to their name. Depending on... Well, I actually wonder. I wonder if he knows, and due to that, whether or not he's going to skip the monkey. If he knows that both Driz and Whole New Society died, is he going to take the safe routes, thinking to himself, okay, I don't need to do the monkey because other players either died to it or... Oh, speaking of monkey, Driz.
Driz.
Let's see. 647 HP. If he doesn't get the double slam, he should be able to tank a non-big slam. Nice big stun there. Happening right now, but it's not going to be enough. Oh, it will be enough for the boss to die. Let's go. Driz with a clean monkey fight, as all that Whole New Society can do is watch. And by the way, interesting mention, a guy that dies name is congrats Whole New Society. So he was definitely rooting for him here, and he might have used that reverse psychology on him. Hey guys, I'm a guy that dies, was trying to present himself as weak, as tired, exhausted even, and thinking he's not going to win. And yet he might be coming out on top here. Let's see.
Does lining up several. There's a really big fizz roll, and Regal's big fire damage and a huge IPD roll in the other one there. Continues crafting that one with, it's got a double hybrid, but he ditches it because it's not as good as the big flat damage.
Ooh, he hits the fizz!
IPD, a massive...
He hit the physical!
Oh my lord, he is sorted for his Bombard crossbow. The only thing he's missing is like a +3 gems.
Wow. I can't believe he actually exalted on the 6th affix. He gets the physical damage. It's only 40-some%, but still, with the highest possible available flat damage, that's probably going to be the best crossbow that we're going to be seeing throughout this entire race season.
The Sorceress has been... People have been asking for an update on the Sorceress. Sorceress just managed to kill a German Ra, so quite a bit behind now, but they're hanging in there, and we'll definitely give you some updates and try and... we'll bring them on screen if we can at certain points, but as they are not streaming as well, that's something we have to share the spectating tool with. We can poke in every now and then.
We can replace Sarge, really, as Sarge is only now getting through the Dreadnought. Driz still... I think he took down the monkey or he skipped it. He is through to the infested barons, so I'm not quite sure what happened there, but already able to move after his unfortunate rip. And now we're going to be able to hopefully see whether or not the defensive approach is going to be effective enough for Angormus. He's struggling a little bit on a shield. He went for the gamble. No flat. He's still gambling. No flat. He's regaling, he's exalting, no luck, he's not happy. You can see him shake his head, and it's really not looking great here. Angormus manages to find another white one, and still uses every currency piece and doesn't get anything out of it.
Oof. Regling the Thorns one is just desperate.
The problem is that for the mercenaries, they can continue to get better and better weapons, as this bombarding crossbow is going to last them for such a long time. But if Angormus doesn't get his shield now, he's not really going to be able to get it in the future, as the gambler tracks your level and the items are just going to be dropping higher level bases. So he really puts in everything, and it just doesn't work for him once again. Should still be enough to hopefully win Warrior, but is he going to be able to continue to be competitive with the mercenaries? With his defensive approach, again, this is technically the phase of the game where Warrior shines. He's going to be able to progress faster as he drops another unique item. Nice. As he's going to be able to progress faster through things like waterways, as Angormus is now finding the monkey. 600 HP on the mark, 35 energy shield. Should be able to survive a single hit. A double hit is definitely going to take him down. A large amount of damage variance for the monkey here. It can really hit you from anywhere between 400 to 900. Good stun. Is it going to be... Oh, he respects it. He actually rolls out of the way, but then finishes it off.
That was cool. He used the pillar and then placed the wall off to the side just to kind of force the monkey to like safely engage with that with no risk to himself. Just like really nice.
Right, yeah.
Monkey fight there. Really cool. Good tactics.
Yeah, and it was cool to see how, again, he respected the boss. He could have finished it, he could have committed, but he decided, you know what? There's no reason for me to take risks. He knows That's probably Angurmis's biggest strength. That in his playstyle, you can see that even though sometimes he's checking the ladder, sometimes he's checking his friends list where he can see his competition. It's not really, it's an opponent's list more than a friends list for him. But for the most part, he knows that he's competing against himself. He knows that as long as he doesn't look back, he can continue to run away from the bear, and he's always going to get away from it. And I really wonder if this is going to work out with this mediocre shield that he's having, as Drizzt is over. Wait, what is happening? Drizzt is already up to the Chimera.
Yes, we saw. So Drizzt and Guy That Dies entered within 20 seconds of each other of the Chimeral, but it looks like Drizzt has had like a cleaner, faster run through there and has picked up a little bit of extra speed with Guy That Dies, venturing off to deal with an Abyss here that maybe Drizzt possibly missed. So a bit of an XP gain for Guy, but Drizzt getting that Chimera down so fast there. Very nicely done. Not any sort of pillar drama with the boss jumping up on extra pillars or anything. Really good stuff. You'll see them throwing away their frost bombs at this point, and that's just because it's not possible for the frost bomb to affect anything from this point onwards. So Drizzt just tosses it on the ground. There's like a hard lock on frost bomb at a certain point. If you can't level it up, and they can't do that, they just can't get the int for it. They have to ditch it. And the good thing is that they can move over to oil grenade, or the other choice for resistance is on the tree. Mostly, I think we see people who take oil grenade, with the extra advantage of oil grenade giving ignited ground, which is really good for those gas grenades. You can just keep tossing them on the ignited ground and they keep popping. So it's a really nice thing to transition to a bit later on. But
and Drizzt was one of the players that died, right? I'm not misremembering that.
So we had the other Merc die just recently and dropped them off the stream. And because Drizzt was leading for a bit and then they died, did they? Man, yeah.
I think did Drizzt die? There's so many mercenaries in the top.
Drizzt did die.
Yeah, so that's an extra 2.5 minutes.
It was the Abyss.
That is crazy to think.
The act. Crazy, actually, because that would mean that they would be like a full zone ahead at this point compared to Guy That Dies, which and that's pretty wild. And then the whole new society being a little bit still kind of in the race as well. We'll keep an eye on them in the background when we can. But
I mean, they're catching up.
We do have Lightspeed Cake, the sorceress, on the screen in the bottom right, so we can check in on how they're doing, and hopefully they don't have any more upsets after their
They're doing good. Again, you have to keep in mind that we thought that survivability is going to be an issue, and it was. Lightspeed Cake has died twice, but despite that, he is in the jungle ruins, so really not far behind with a 5-minute difference, and he's heading over to the monkey now. And I gotta say, somehow, even though his total EHP pool is not looking a whole lot better, his survivability seems manageable. It's mostly probably due to the mob type that he's having to deal with. Goes for the quick vendor check, and I really wonder how that monkey run is going to go for him, as we have a pretty kind of a boring zone. Jiquani's Machinarium now, that is a pretty lengthy zone that we have to get through. No real big bosses there at all.
So despite entering half behind.
Lightspeed Cake, monkey time. Oh, he resets it. Wait, did he die instantly? No,
probably the reset just to get mobs off of you, so you're not fighting mobs at the same time as the monkey, which is sometimes just a safety reset people will do before engaging the actual boss there. So I don't think we saw Guy That Dies take on monkey unless I missed it, but yeah, we did see some of the others attempt to and suffer the consequences of that. Sork eating some hits from the monkey there, but the single target not looking quite as bursty. Well, okay, never mind. There it goes. Oh, baby. That charge up, though. There's that big delay and then just massive damage. Very satisfying.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool playstyle, and it seems pretty effective. Definitely not looking nearly as strong as it was in Act 2, where it was definitely the leader in terms of damage, but I think we're already up to level 33 for our mercenaries, so it's difficult to compete with those bombarding crossbows. Not even, actually. Our mercenaries are still 31, so...
Yeah, it'll take a little
Is it 33
while
or...
get to that point. Yeah, it's 33 for the bombard crossbows. Yeah. It'll be a little bit before they get to that point. I believe we are 30, almost hitting 31 right now for Whole New Society. I'm keeping an eye on the background. And honestly, they are, like... they're in the lead right now, so it's actually really like hard to track the mercenary race because it's back and forth. Like they're currently doing the second generator in Jakani's Sanctum, so Oh man, like I want to keep the sorceress on screen, but there's like a lot of contention for that position right now as to who gets to take that fourth slot on the screen.
I kind of want to catch the live rip. Sorry, guys. We can only show you 4 players. It's impossible for us to show you the 5th. We're going to try and keep an eye out on it. But honestly, I think we're on the precipice of catching a live rip here from the sorceress. Not to caster curse them too much. I guess it's kind of a reverse caster curse. You know, they're definitely going to die, meaning that they're not going to die for sure. We're going to have to wait and see.
Interesting. There's a unique strongbox on the right side of Draconi's Sanctum, and because of the fact that it is fixed seed, everyone will have that same one. But it looks like I see people opening it and not really sticking around, just kind of like taking some extra mobs there, but maybe not really like pushing for that full strongbox.
Right.
And Gormus getting the Zyclusian kill very comfortably there, looking very nice. The strategy for these Draconi's Sanctum, if you haven't seen it before, is absolutely something you can learn from the races and incorporate into your own runs. And that is that you run to one side, get to the generator, kind of clear a little bit of a circle around it. You can see any of the power cores, and then you can reset at checkpoint, and it will re-jostle the power cores in the zone, and you'll see it on your minimap if there's one there. And you can actually just do that twice and get 2 soul cores, and then put them both in both generators, saving.
You guys are not seeing it, but I'm looking at Sarge fighting Jamanra, and he has no life loss, no mana loss. I think it's the second time he's doing it. It's just a massive struggle, but finally manages to take it down. So it's going to be a rank 1 monk player in the background, still trying to compete as Guy That Dies takes down the boss of this zone, the boss of this dungeon, and it looked pretty good. It looked pretty clean compared to Driz, who is now beginning his boss fight. Which looking pretty good.
On Whole New Society as well, which is only just a little bit behind. But Driz is a Codal going down very fast there, standing nicely on the corner. Actually gets the stun and cancelling that phase even, and gets a nice fast kill. They can really kill that boss just so quickly.
This is unprecedented. We have X-Ruse, who you guys might remember from the last week's race, who is also really high up and very competitive right now. So the top 4 mercenary spot is looking incredibly close, and that's a huge competition for rank 1. And it feels weird, but we're getting to the point where we might have to take Gormus off the stream. I mean, we're only able to show we're only able to show you guys one observer source here, but I mean, I really don't know. Is Angormus going to be able to keep up?
Never.
Is the amount of speed that he gets and the amount of practice that he puts into layout read, the new Act 4 layout's going to be enough?
If it comes to a neck-and-neck 4-way mercenary race at the end, we might have to, and that just breaks my heart. We did just see Whole New Society, well, you didn't see it, but I saw it, and take down Zakodal there in the background just now. So they're a little bit behind right now. So yes, but indeed, leading over Angormus at the moment. But I still think they're hanging in there for just the moment, but the time is potentially coming where Angormus is not on screen, and I don't think it has ever happened. Unprecedented.
Lightspeed Cake taking down his Chimera, so Sork still keeping up. As long as you can stay alive, Sork is looking pretty good. I do wonder, I'm gonna go spy on Jungron maybe in a little bit. I wonder how things are looking for the Witch. We saw that the Witch in last week's race was struggling quite a lot, and then it manages to ascend, get that demon form, and suddenly we had some players very close to the top, but survivability was still a huge concern, as now we're getting through the waterways, and this is a super tough zone for everybody, but more so mercenaries than the warriors. And at this stage of the game, also, it's kind of interesting because the mercenaries are still having to kill mobs and get to level 33, so it's a little bit different than what you would be seeing in past races where the top of the ladder was primarily warriors that were just about skipping everything in this zone. And whenever you're fighting mobs like this, it is kind of problematic there, because this is a zone where there's these guys that have Detonate Dead, and you know, if you're just running past them, you're not really having any problems. But if you're killing monsters, those Detonate Dead enemies become quite formidable, and that's what's happening for Guy That Dies, who has been dropping quite low more than a couple times now. And Gorm's checking the ladder.
After a slower, more XP-focused run through the Chimera, Guy That Dies was the first to enter the Matland Waterways, the most controversial zone in the entire campaign for our races, much loathed for its difficulty and danger levels. But like you said, the mercenaries using this opportunity to grab that extra XP, since they're kind of forced to anyway. They can't really tank the mobs while activating the levers, so they just go for the kills anyway, whereas the warrior can kind of just tank that stuff and ignore it and activate those levers while getting wailed on. So we'll see if Angormus ends up going that route or if they're still kind of clearing at this point.
I mean, technically they could shield swap right as they're clicking the lever, but again, because you're trying to go for the XP, maybe it's a little bit too much micromanagement. You know, it's an extra button you have to press as Angormus fights his Zikuwaddle. Oh, his damage is good. I think he got a nice upgrade.
He got a shield. I kind of want to swap to him and take a look at it, but I'm watching a Whole New Society at the moment, so I do want to try and get a read on his shield. But he did pick up a shield finally after his struggles, and it looks pretty. It seems like we won't be able to get all 4 mercs on stream, but that is okay because I think we can keep the top 3 on at any one point. We can only keep one specific non-streaming.
By the way,
on bottom right.
In the background, also Luxian and Kiom, who we've seen in the other races previously, have also killed the Chimera too. So things are pretty close, not just for the top 4, but even more people beyond that. Everybody trying to get as good as possible in this campaign run. A nice ring for Driz. He hovers over it, thinking, when is he going to find his next Regal Orb to use? Here comes the waterway skip for Guy That Dies.
Guy. Yeah. Oh, that's a little scary. That's a little scary. They're not dead.
Okay, he gets it.
He got it. Nice. If you haven't seen it before, Guy That Dies just did my favorite skip in the game. So when you click the lever, the map opens. You're forced to watch this little map animation thing. If you place the portal and then do the lever, why are we seeing it again? What happened? Huh?
Not sure.
That was weird.
Did he drop something? Oh, maybe he misclicked the portal. He was spamming it so hard to get that skip.
Did he go back accidentally? What?
I think so. They might have. I mean, it happens. I've definitely done that before. I've probably done that 1,000 times in PoE, to be honest.
It looked like Guy That Dies has got 2 good crossbows and they're actually trying to decide what is stronger. And they buy another one for even more crafting. Not satisfied with their insane crossbow, just trying to even look for opportunities to get even better ones. I guess we're
let's see.
That's a double flight with +3 gems. Okay, and there's some space for exalting, but he doesn't. No, he's happy with the current one.
Let's see how much single target is Lightspeed Cake going to be able to put out here. He's charging up. And here it comes. Ooh, almost 50% HP on the boss. Oh, no, dodge!
Crazy.
Wait! Oh, he tanked it!
What?
Wait, how? What?
He only took 100 points of damage. What actually happened?
Wait, we've seen players die to this with 900 HP. How did he tank it? Did he block it? Is it blockable?
I honestly have no idea what happened there. I know it's a pretty wide range on that, so it's a risky thing to tank. Usually people do not go for that, but that looked confidently tanked and then no damage dealt. Kind of wild. Zork just doesn't care. Okay.
What just happened?
Right.
I am shocked. Okay, well, that's a huge time save if other players can discover what exactly happened there. That was very effective.
Multiple people pointed out I never got to finish explaining my skip. Okay, it's
sorry.
You place the portal, activate the lever, then you spam click the portal, and it'll teleport you through before the screen opens, and you force to close it. It saves you 1 second.
But we mention it every time. We don't mention the 30-second skips, but
yeah.
This one's number 1.
Okay, interesting. Driz is fighting Queen of Filth right now, but he's actually just standing in the center. I wonder if he'll veer off to one of the side corners.
Driz is super dead.
Oh my god, he gets steamrolled. Oh no.
Maybe. Oh man.
Oh. Well,
Okay,
that's death number 2 for Driz. Oh,
Driz is omega full sending it. He never respawns a checkpoint. If he's gonna die, he's doing a real hardcore run. Because this is the second time where he definitely had an opportunity to respawn a checkpoint, and he opts to not go for it, goes for the risky play, and it results in a rip. So unfortunate for him.
okay, so in the background, Whole New Society is still behind, but will probably have a pretty good chance of catching up to Driz and equalizing there for second place. Mercenary maybe, but Guy That Dies certainly takes the lead on the Mercenary front now with a more consistent, safer playstyle. Despite having a bit less HP than Driz, I don't believe we've seen a Guy That Dies death. Correct me if I'm wrong? Don't think so.
But you have to keep in mind that this is the second time that Driz dies, and yes, he's having to stand still for a minute and a half, but only now Guy That Dies reaches Apex of Filth. He hasn't had a rip last race, and he seems to have a much more defensive approach, not dying last week, getting rank 1 overall, and this week,
oh my god, please no. Not you too.
Doing a little bit of face tanking on the mushrooms, takes a slam on top of it, stuns the boss. Is he going to be able to finish it here? Then people comes out, nicely done by Guy.
Okay, you get that kill. Well recovered off that one there. Just tanking the one chop. At 630 health, Guy That Dies is on pace to be a little bit behind on the defensive side of things as to where you want to be for a mercenary. They'll be heading to the Viper fight soonish, so unless there's some upgrades that occur, you kind of want about 700 HP for that to feel really comfortable.
Look at what Driz did. Driz tapped out and then looked at the name on the ladder for Whole New Society, and then typed in his character name to add him as a friend. And his name was like, and he typed out all of it while he was dead.
I guess 2.5 minutes gives you time to do that.
Why didn't he just copy the name? Hello?
Dedicated. Love it.
Okay. Well, he's about to fight the boss again. Let's go.
All right. Yeah, let's hopefully things go a little bit better for Driz this time. I mean, it happened once, it can happen again, but that was like worst of the worst case scenario. What you can do here is there's these little tiny boxes off to the sides of the arena there. It's a bit hard to see, but they're just kind of where the border, quote unquote, is. And you can pull her into the corner and stack the grenades there, but it can be a little risky.
The way that you look at this is you can look at the top right on the minimap or on the layout. It's kind of like how in PoE 1 you look at the minimap when you're fighting Uber Elder. Because the arena doesn't quite show you where you can go, but if you look at the minimap, the lines are clear. And Driz having a very aggressive approach, and it's going to be super effective. The boss goes down. No rolling slam this time for the Queen of Filth.
Angormus just tanks the rolling slam. No worries. He's just like, yeah, you roll through that wall.
Okay, maybe he's standing in vulnerability. I'm scared.
He's not even moving out of the vulnerability. Just opting for full damage. He gets the stuns and takes her down. That is a very impressive kill right there.
That's how Warrior does
much
it.
More comfortable, right? Yeah, that's Warrior. That's how Angormus does it.
That's Warrior for you.
All right,
let's see. Guy That Dies.
Tricky fight for a Guy That Dies here. This boss likes to move around a lot, which is really tough for grenades. It's also a very small boss, but the pin can make all the difference here. So the pin on the stun grenade, if you can get a pin off at the right time, that will really just keep the boss in place until you can actually like follow up with a stun or something, or just the kill itself. Really good opening damage there. I'm not seeing any flash grenade pin attempts at all. So it's actually just full damage send. And there's the stun, and not even a chance for Ketsuli to move. Just raw damage. Of course, we saw Guy That Dies with an insane crossbow. So Guy, just knowing that, hey, I can just go full damage here and just take that boss down before they even start moving. Amazing.
Yeah, and it's important that you time everything right, because this boss, every 10% of HP lost, he commits to another extra jump. So if you time it incorrectly and he starts jumping and he gets like 8 of those jumps, it really results in a huge amount of time lost. But not for Guy That Dies. The quiver proving super effective. He's going to be able to take it down. Driz trying to keep up. Angormus slowly inching forward. Gets the first floor of the Temple of Kopek. Now has a read on the zone. He's going to be able to get to the boss. And let's see what his damage is going to look like. Angormus, again, showing that the Warrior, yes, it might be a little bit less effective in Act 2. But for Act 3 and 4, you begin to catch up, and this catch-up mechanic might just turn out to be enough for him to claim rank 1 overall, as he was pretty close last week. Didn't quite inch it out. Pre-stacking those walls. Doesn't have a totem down, but it's not going to matter.
Starts moving, but the stun should follow up here nicely. Yeah, really good. That stun build-up is insane on that first hit.
He's going to kill it.
Yeah, just absolutely chunking. Like it's impressive. Oh, okay. It starts moving. He gets it anyway. He was pretty quick on the swap of the side for that shield wall there. It was good. He was ready for it.
That was pretty good. Yeah, meanwhile, we've got X-Ruse, who is fighting the same boss right now. In the background, I'm also looking at Lightspeed Cake going through the Madeline waterways. But the Viper fight begins for Guy That Dies. No cheeky skip here. He's going to have to go through the entire line of dialogue. A little bit of room for him to mess around with his inventory.
Yeah, it's a good time to just sort things out. 640 health, the Guy That Dies is a bit below where you want. And this is a tough fight. Yeah. She is small. She moves around a lot. She can be pretty dangerous. It's a fight that you should never really die in, but it's also a fight that you can lose all your flasks and die in. So we've certainly seen plenty of people die in this fight. In theory, you can do it safely, but well, theory and reality are very different things. And the fight can be very variable in how it goes. Great opening there with the burning ground from the oil, allowing for a nice, easy gas grenade follow-up. She does leap out of it, though, so that's kind of the problem there. But gets a nice stun, allowing for a second round of damage. Let's see, she'll probably be attempting to go up in the air soon.
He might skip the invulnerability.
No way.
I cursed him. It was close.
Rise, why have you done this?
I mean, just making the race close. Don't worry about it.
So close. I don't know that we've ever seen a full invulnerability skip like that. That was very close, though. The follow-up?
He might get a double here. He needs to get the ignite off. Oh, okay, yeah, nice.
That first delay is just painful, right? Like waiting for it.
Yeah.
Guy That Dies took the extra grenade node, which is a huge damage boost, but does give you like a big extra fuse duration. So it takes a really long time for those explosive grenades to go off. Once you get the first set, you're okay. What's happening, though? But
Guy That Dies pauses the game.
Yeah, why are we quick pee break maybe? Hard to say. Can't tell from that one.
Well, this is looking kind of this. I mean, the other mercenaries died. Driz caught up now, but Extra is already fighting his boss too.
And Gormus and Driz doing their fights. Screws at the same time. Well. This is so close. Oh my lord! And Gormus putting out immense damage. His shield is looking really nice there.
I give Gormus enough room to be rank 1.
Did Driz one-phase that without an immunity? I think he did. Oh, no, wait, it hasn't started.
Driz is still fighting, yeah.
I saw the items on the ground. I thought the boss was dead. He threw those on the ground. Okay. Why do you do this to me? All right, here we go. Let's see how it goes. And Gormus, immunity phase done. Follows up a couple quick shield slams. Gets the kill. No pause from Engormus means that he'll be able to start taking over there. It seems like Guy That Dies has had to pause and do something IRL, maybe? Hope everything is all right.
Oh, he's back.
Resume. There we go. Might have been a quick knock at the door or something. Guy That Dies will not let that keep them down. Just giving us the closest possible race here, it seems. Drew's going a little low, but managing to recover comfortably. Some nice dodge rolls there. And we do go into an immunity phase there for Driz. So it's going to take things a little bit longer. And I'm watching Whole New Society in the background, taking down Viper, like identically to Driz right now. Gets the kill just now, just a little bit before Driz. So
you mean X-Ruse?
He also looking very
Whole
good.
New Society
I'm watching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm watching them.
Oh, okay. I'm watching X-Ruse then.
That one. Yeah, I'm watching them.
Yeah, sure.
It's
okay. You're checking,
crazy, right? Like
you're checking. Oh wait, Guy That Dies is dead.
What? That's our first death.
We're messing around with the observing tool, and well, I mean, he's due. He's due for at least one rip.
No. He just got a little interruption and then kind of like sits back down and dies as soon as going into Utsil there. Really rough.
Something's wrong.
I mean, other mercenaries have had deaths. That is Guy's first. But at the same time, the other mercenaries have been able to catch up off of those, whereas guys has just been a little bit slower that whole time, despite managing to stay alive. But of course, what does this all mean? Angormus is not. Our fears unwarranted. Angormus is never going to leave the spectators' perspective.
Rank 1.
Yep,
And
Angormus
it is close.
in first position.
X-Ruse is now in the black chamber as well, so he's literally like 10 seconds behind. Who's going to be the first person to exit Act 3?
I think Angormus. Yeah, I don't think that. I think like the single target damage is close enough between Angormus and Screws. That's
X-Ruse has to
probably wrong for him here. he's gonna get into that Act 4, Act 3, Act 4 as soon as before anyone else for sure. Yeah,
X-Ruse has to go for the reset here. Runs into a cheeky abyss. But Angormus, in the meanwhile, close to the boss.
There he goes. Hits the checkpoint. Doesn't opt for the reset. Not worried about being followed or anything. Heading into the boss fight. Let's see.
It's a shield, I wonder.
Shield is going to be looking really good there. Yeah, I almost want to jump on and have a look at it.
Look at it.
Shield, I got this.
I'm looking at X-Ruse. Wonder if he's gonna. I mean, his damage looks really good. About twice as good as it was last week. Still gets the laser, so he's gonna have to wait that out.
Oriani just getting already faced the boss there with the stun going on the ground. Just has to chill now for a little while, waiting for that second phase while Screws moves in. We debate about how to pronounce Screws' name.
X-Ruse.
I'm Screws.
Don't call him Screws. Come on.
No, guy that dies goes offline. Oh, I hope everything is all right for them. They did have that pause and had to step away for a minute and then died. It might be possible that they are just unable to keep racing at the moment. But I do hope everything is okay for them. That was a really phenomenal effort and run from Guy That Dies. So we will try and get someone else in there in a moment here. Checking in.
And that's our last week's champion too. His name was Congrats Whole New Society, so he did come into this race being a little bit skeptical about his performance, and it looks like some issues in real life are holding him back. Extremely unfortunate, but it does give an opportunity for some of our other contenders to power through. Because we're going to have to wait and see. Unfortunately, we're only able to show you guys one person spectating, so we might end up being in a situation where...
Such a good kill. Such a good kill for Angormus. Just no worry at all. Just consistent, constant explosions of damage from those shield walls.
Man, but look, X-Ruse is getting it out too. He's really pumping this boss. Why the butt laser? Almost goes down there. That was close.
No. Kind of hesitates and goes the wrong way for a little second there before recorrecting and managing to survive that somewhat miraculously to finish off a very fast kill. Ultimately, it probably was a little bit faster than Gormus's, which is not too surprising for the Mercs single target damage output. It's a shame we didn't get to see Guy That Dies single target there, because it would have been obscene with the crossbow that he picked up. We'll have to see what Driz is looking like here to finish things out. Looking pretty spicy. Very nice. That's 4 very close kills. Mate, this is the closest we've seen across classes, I think. Like with different classes being so close together. Crazy.
And I'm looking at Jungrown, and his single target was pretty serious. A lot of damage over time coming out from him. I like how he equips the Leap Slam as it's kind of a staple for waterways. If you want to get through this zone, regardless of your class, you're going to have to use it. And now we've got X-Ruse entering King's March. And we're going for the ROG skip, where you don't wait for him to stumble his way over. And it allows you to...
Sorry, go ahead.
It just allows you to get the charter a little bit earlier, and you're able to exit the zone a little bit earlier. But unfortunately, it also results in you permanently losing ROG. So our players won't be able to access him all the way until they're able to mess around with him in maps. But it does save them a little bit of time, so quite nice.
Yeah, it's brutal, non-viable to play these characters after this point, but for the purposes of the race, just fine. I'm seeing Jungrown do some spear disengage movement. Interesting to see. We've got a spear and a scepter offhand wield for Jung's witch right now. So seeing some differences in strategies here, and what even is happening? See,
apparently we have stats, and Gormus entering Act 4 first, 24 seconds ahead of Whole New Society second, and then Extrus was 10 seconds after Whole New Society. Driz was 12 seconds after Extrus. So less than a second difference across all of our players here. So quite huge. And I know that some people in the chat are mentioning the Ranger, but guys, we're trying to track our top players for the race and not just the players that have the most XP, which some weaker classes are probably going to be over XPing, and it looks good on the ladder, but unfortunately they're not quite able to compete for rank 1. So just something to keep in mind if that is your only source of tracking our players. And we are having an extremely close race, and it is cool to see once again that Warrior, as Gurms gets knocked down, the Warrior and Mercenary are just so competitive. But at this stage of the game, things are really looking up for Angormus, as he is playing the safer class. But that being said, last week, playing the safer class did result in him dying, maybe being a little bit overconfident when it comes to his defense. And I wonder if the same thing is going to happen here. Probably not, though, as I don't... Wait, actually, hasn't Gormus died this race? I don't think so. So that would be...
Rise, come on.
That would be his first time ever not dying in the race. Number 1, world record.
Come on.
It's never happened before, guys.
You stop it. We're seeing some weird stuff from Jungar in the top right. So there was going to be this strategy with some bugged minion swap tech, which was bug fixed just before the race. So I didn't really think that we'd be seeing minion stuff. But we are seeing minion swap shenanigans. So there's some like weapon swap toggling, minion summoning to ignite enemies.
Right.
And it was, I mean, certainly weird though. It is.
Yeah, it looks weird, but it is
bizarre.
very effective. I've seen it in other races. Guys, look away.
Angormus heading into Diamora. A fight that we have seen some very interesting zoom in strategies on. That's
he's gonna skip it.
Damage. Oh my god! Is he gonna have no zoom? No, he gets a zoom. Look at it. He's pointing at the health bar, being like, "Can't believe it's so close." Well, there we go. Here's the zoom in tech.
Oh god!
Respectfully glimpsing. Just trying to get a read on the boss's angle and stuff like that. It's a completely tactical decision. But looks like Angormus has got the damage output to almost take it down even before any of these phases. And it makes a big difference. This is one where you can kind of snowball time loss, where if your damage is not good enough, you can have like 2 of these phases. And as you can see, they last a very long time, delaying the fight. And almost got through with none of them. I'll be interested to see if
meanwhile, Exrus... he's keeping up. He's maybe not quite going to be able to get it here, but it was pretty close for him too, so not really particularly far behind. That being said, Mydra is taking a different approach, so there's a bunch of different approaches that you can have for Act 4, depending on your class, depending on your drops. And that being said, Mydra is already up to the prisoner den, and we're going to have to wait and see. There's some guaranteed things that you're able to get from the Abyss, and different classes are going to prioritize different things. So again, it will be a little bit confusing when it comes to tracking Act 4 and how quickly we're going to be able to get through these zones. Jungron going for the what a waste skip. Nicely done.
Yeah, it looks like the mercs this week are going for prisoner first. Going for the prison first. And Driz just about securing that kill there, standing right on that ballista, getting ready to take those shots as quickly as possible. As soon as the prisoner drops to a knee, going for those shots to not interrupt the fight at all. And Driz gets that kill. Meanwhile, Angormus has moved on and is going to Shrike Island, where no doubt he's wanting to kind of restore a little bit of confidence.
Okay, so generally, the way that you do things is that you either go to Shrike Island first, and then you do Abandoned Prison and Whakapanu together. So you either do those 2 together, and then you go for Shrike. And the reason for that is because it's primarily cold damage, so you're kind of trying to keep it safe here. But Angormus has been looking so tanky. Maybe he just thinks that he doesn't have to swap out any gear. He doesn't have to mess around with anything. He has an acceleration shrine.
It's right on the Abyss. He actually respawns to reshuffle the Abyss so that he can get that. Because the shrines are fixed seed and they'll be the same for everyone. So everyone has an acceleration shrine there. If there's like
Things wrong,
they'll actually leave it and come back. It's a long way for him.
That was a long road. He didn't like that either.
You can see how that reset actually moved the Abyss because they do regenerate each time, whereas the fixed seed means that shrine is going to be there every time.
Ziggy left the
zone
building
now with acceleration, which is good. Sometimes
Ziggy's back
that will
in the
be.
building.
Oh, was I dropping out again? Oh no!
He dropped off. He rage quit the cast, like guy. Unfortunate.
No. So the reset there allowing for the removal of the Abyss, as that does regenerate each time, whereas the shrine is set based on the same spot each time, and that shrine is guaranteed part of the zone too. But sometimes
I love
damage.
Look at what Junkgrun's doing. This is looking. His character's looking extra wonky.
The weird little stutter run. Look at it. Oh no.
Okay, here we go. Bird time for Angormus.
All right, Angormus. It's time to restore your confidence after last week getting pecked by this bird and just dying in an act where really a warrior should not be having any deaths. And really nice starting damage there. Positions off of the spikes.
No baby face.
Haven't seen any packs. Just stun, chaining, just huge damage. Angormus just dishing out crazy amounts of damage there. A little bit of extra speed from the shrine and feeling very confident moving in off of that bird. Angormus looking to secure themselves and regain their title as overall champion here and potentially the fastest run. We're on track for sub 230 here. Potentially 214 at this point.
Noticeably faster than last week. I think.
So much faster than last week. We're definitely not going to be seeing another 240 this week, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think so. And it is very close. Again, prisoners happening right now for X-Ruse, who's using that leap slam to get across the gates, even though it looks like a dead end. Pretty neat skip there that everybody can get with the leap slam. And he's jumping over those waves of water, which also allows you to skip the penalty, the movement speed penalty coming out of it. And we are focusing on speed. This is a speed run. And he's probably going to be the first person to get to the boss prior, well, not the first overall, as we've already had Driz do it, but before Angormus, who now only reaches the confinement. But I don't think X-Ruse did Shrike Island yet.
No, so each of the races has to pick up 3 separate weapon pieces to assemble together to make the MacGuffin, and Angormus was the first one to get the.
I love how every time Ziggy is about to say something crucial, he cuts off.
No. Okay.
You're like in the middle of explaining something, and guys, this part is especially important. The one thing that you need is
read,
and that's everything that you need. Great. Thank you, Ziggy. Meanwhile, prisoner fight happening for X-Ruse. And yeah, we unfortunately are obviously having some Discord issues, guys, but it is what it is. We might go for maybe another server swap. Why not? This time, US East? I don't think that. Listen, what if it's a US server in general? Ziggy, where are we going?
Oh no, Angormus! Can you hear me? Angormus! No,
he's dead.
Yes,
I totally missed it.
He was like kind of unsure about the reset, but he was pretty much already dead. I think when he hit the pause button, and does go down there. Looks like he's having a little bit.
This guy dies in every race.
Oh no! Right,
he's dead every time.
No.
There hasn't been a race where he hasn't died.
Oh, he's got a bit of a lead, but 2.5 minutes is a big loss right now for him. The Warriors thing was that, man, he doesn't necessarily have as much single target as what the mercenaries can put out, but he's got the ability to not die, and unfortunately does go down. I'm not even really sure what happened. There was a mobs while on top of the wave, maybe getting slowed.
Yeah, maybe a clip. Yeah, a clip is going to be great. I think it's going to help us out a lot. In the meanwhile, Driz fighting the Amora, and we got X-Ruse heading over through the Shrike Island, a really lengthy zone. and he's going to be trying to get to that bird boss, the pesky bird boss that kills everybody as quickly as possible. And the funny part is, we're not even up to the difficult bosses yet. We still have the final boss coming up, which tends to be quite tricky, and the abysses on the way are also quite sketchy as well. But Benedictus is the big sketchy boss, and I gotta say, I was really optimistic that Angormus is going to be able to survive, especially on Benedictus, just through the amount of damage that he's going to be able to put up. We have been seeing mercenaries struggle with that boss quite a lot, but with the rip, I think all of our top players right now have died at least once. Driz dying twice, Exru's dying once, Angormus dying once, and Whole New Society, I think, dying once as well. Ziggy, you keeping an eye out?
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on things. So in the background, if Discord will let me say details, Angormus picked up the second weapon piece. They have to assemble 3 to make the MacGuffin, and the second place was 2.5 minutes behind, the exact length of the death timer. So
nice.
That, in theory, puts things exactly neck and neck. If Angormus can get back in there and have a nice clean run, then we're just going to see a very close race here.
Extra's almost dying. Goes for the pause.
That is
ends
not
up working out.
Screws needs right now, because they were the second one to pick up the second weapon piece, putting them that 2.5 minutes behind Angormus, which now is possibly 0 seconds behind Angormus. We will we'll see.
He leaves the baby. Oh no.
All right, so Angormus has to make his way back to the boss after that.
Oh, apparently
it was a pretty big reset for him. Let's have a look at what that rip was just now while we have a chance here. So he gets kind of stuck on those mobs there. No worries there. Gets slowed by the wave and just, stun. But does it? I think he thought he was going to be able to get back up. So hesitated a couple times and reset it a couple times.
Oh, no. Ooh. That is a unusual mistake from Angormus. Yeah.
He was really far through the zone. So I think he was like, I don't want to reset. But obviously, in the end, that was the wrong decision. Brutal.
Yeah, and we've got our first player up to Arasta. That's going to be Xruz. Man, I am really feeling for Angormus here. That was just so unusual, because you can always exit to character selection, and that will allow you to reset the stun on your character, or any ailment for that matter. And he really didn't want to spend the extra second of logging in and out, despite his... oh my, Driz is so low. He is low for a long time. His flask is not nearly as effective as it needs to be for an encounter such as this one. He will be able to take down the boss. Will he skip the baby? He skips the baby. He skips the loot too.
Well, he just got the stun off on the little one and then got out of there. All right, Angormus is taking on his boss for the third piece. Meanwhile, Screws is the first person to get all 3 pieces. Wait, what? Why are we seeing the Shrike Island then? First to 3 pieces. Interesting.
Wait. What? What?
So if Screws, doing what? Screws was first to 3 pieces, according to the stuff in the background, but he's running the Shrike Island now?
No, Screws is in Arasta.
Why?
Yeah,
okay, it's the Twitch stream rewind. Oh my god. Thank you.
We're good. We're chilling.
Okay.
The prisoner being fought by Angormus. Is he going to be able to take it down here? Nicely done. He wants to position it close to that ballista to avoid as much regeneration as possible. Xruz, I'm not sure that he go for the bell yet. The bell does guarantee 3 exalted orbs, but if your gear is sufficient, you might go for the skip. I love how, look at what he's doing. He knows that he's not fighting any mobs, so he has his shield out. He's skipping all of the monsters. Is that a unique shield for Xruz? Yeah, it is, right? It's Wolf's Bane. That's going to give him 43 life, 10 strength, 26% block chance, and intimidate enemies on block for 8 seconds. So actually pretty good. If you're able to block, that's 10% extra damage for 8 seconds whenever he is fighting a boss. So might be able to do something with that, with some miscellaneous damage flying around. As it does just really affect good for the
safety
boss.
For the leap slam as well. So the mercs are trying. They have a second weapon top tree for just like defensive nodes. and so that they have that shield out, they're leap slamming, they're just really safe while traveling around. Whenever they're traveling, there's shield out, leap slam, moving, nice and safe. And yeah, maybe you get a cheeky block in there and get some intimidate off that shield there too. But it looks like the boss fight kicking off pretty nicely for Screws.
Yeah, this is a great fight for him for sure. Quite a lot of mobility on this mercenary setup. He has to aim the rocks to attack the ads. That's going to remove the buffs that they're casting. And I think he's kind of holding back on some of the damage because he knows that the boss has a lot of defenses up right now. And he doesn't want to run out of mana, as that can be a little bit of an issue here. There's multiple phases to this boss, gets a big stun off, but then misses a lot of grenades. All the ads are down, but the fight is still looking good. The ignite helping out a little bit, a lot of burning ground happening for him. One of the ads is up, but he doesn't necessarily have to deal with it. Now he's just focusing on positioning the boss as much as possible in a way that's going to allow him to maximize the damage from the grenades. The beam comes out, that's 850 fire DPS. Dodges the big slam. That's an ability that's most likely going to kill him if he stands in it. And yeah, runs out of mana at the end of the fight. No more mana flash, but just barely manages to kill the boss with his last sliver of blue. Very nicely done by Xruz. And he's going to be the first person to do so, as Mydriz and Angormus are making their way through Arastas now. Angormus getting his Exalted Orbs guaranteed from that belt if you guys are doing your own playthrough. And we're extremely close to Benedictus, the most dangerous boss in the entirety of this campaign. This is the boss that sets all of our players apart. And we saw some rips last time, and we saw some really crazy fights. I think it was Angormus that dropped to 10% like 5 or 6 times during that boss fight. It was super close.
I don't know. In practice runs, I saw lots of deaths on Tavakai, especially for the mercs. So
right, yeah.
Even after this boss, they're not necessarily out of the woods here. But nice acceleration shrine.
Oh, yeah, acceleration shrine again. I think didn't we have because there's a guaranteed shrine in excavation, and all of our players are having the same shrine. Oh no, last week it was the 20% damage shrine. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was the damage one last time, which is probably even wanted more here for the boss fight. Right. But nonetheless, still acceleration shrine, very good and easy to miss that one as well.
It's something
a little differently.
It's something that's good for warrior because obviously mercenaries are limited by their cooldown. So even though you have acceleration, you're restricted. Oh,
just getting pegged by the rock there, and then
getting pegged.
Just and
he's frozen.
He's frozen. He's frozen and shocked. The boss is so close to getting stunned. There we go. He manages to get the stun, and manages to get back in the fight here after just a near disaster.
Okay, here we go.
Have that moment there.
Xruz beginning his Benedictus fight. This is everything. 642 life. Hopefully a sufficient amount of lightning resistance this initial stage. Oh, he's not. Oh man, that's really not a lot of damage. He gets the mace too. Okay, but the stun is positioned perfectly. He should be able to stun the boss out of the face. He might even be able to kill it here. No, okay, he gets the face. And let's see, he's trying to not stun it. He can't stun it during this. But immediately as the boss comes out, that's when he starts doing damage. That's when the stun comes out. Is this going to be enough? Will this boss be able to fight back? This is going to be close, but he should be able to get it here. There we go. Wow.
There we go.
Super clean.
Whatsoever.
He let the stun go down so he could stun it perfectly in the second phase to not give the boss an opportunity to fight back whatsoever. So nicely done by Xruz, because this is the fight where a lot of players die, and a lot of players, this is probably the most practiced boss for our top contenders in general because of how dangerous it is.
Really, really good run through there. And on 640 life as well, no less. So if there was any gaps given to the boss to fight back in some way, then, well, there's a real risk there for Screws. So he's going to have to be a little careful moving to the Tavakai fight, because that boss
Driz.
Back a bit more.
Driz and Angormus entering the boss fight at the exact same time.
Ooh. I love to see it.
Oh, Angormus doesn't have the shrine.
Interesting, yeah.
But his damage is so good. His shield is so powerful. I wonder if it's going to be enough. Honestly, his damage has looked the best out of all of our contenders so far. Let's see how this is going to look like for him.
Fight starts a little bit earlier for Driz. Really nice opening burst for Angormus.
Hard for Angormus to manage his stun.
Insane. Yeah.
Oh, he's dead.
Oh, God.
This is why you can't give an opportunity for this boss to ever fight back. This is what happens. A second death for Angormus. So hard.
I just did not even see that coming. Neither did he. I can see Angormus being frustrated with the visuals there, having a hard time seeing that.
And look at Driz
move coming up ahead of time.
He gets the stun. Is he going to be able to finish it? This is why it's so crucial. Oh, he's not able to kill it.
Whoa. He has to move.
Any attack can one-shot him.
700 health. Oh, hard down, drops down half of the one little tap there, and manages to secure the kill though.
Lucky pattern.
Drama.
So lucky for Driz. The boss essentially uses his flame dash as opposed to any of the lightning beams that he's able to spam. And Driz is going to be able to get through his boss fight, which unfortunately cannot be said for Angormus, our warrior contender here. And Driz is going to be the second person to begin his journey towards the last island as our race is slowly closing out. Maybe for the stream layout, we could position Angormus next to Driz at the top, just because it makes for nicer viewing. That having the top players at the top in general. And then Jungron, yeah, there you go. And then swap him out. Very nice. Nice job, production.
So we have two mercs that are still fairly close to each other here. But Driz does have to wait through a little bit of lore. Meanwhile, we do, of course, have Screws heading into the finale of this race. A dangerous zone with an even more dangerous boss. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in this boss fight because there has been some
why is that
tech discovered with the boss fight that allows you to skip a phase, pretty much. So normally the boss regenerates to full. Apparently there's some reset or log in, log out shenanigans that can allow you to bypass that regen.
Wait a minute. Why didn't you mention this so the devs could change it prior to the race? Hello, Ziggy? What are you doing?
Okay, this is like a, I don't know, like a doctor's vow thing. If the racers tell me something before the race, I don't say anything about it until the race. You know, it's their secret until the race is live. Okay. If the devs want to fix it after the race, then they can go ahead and fix it. But I don't know if everyone knows about this. It was done in a somewhat public manner accidentally the first time during a practice run. So it's possible that this information has proliferated, but I'm not sure to what extent. And given that Screws was not someone I was keeping as close an eye on, as they've surprised us a little bit, something like that could make all the difference here with how close it has been. Especially as it's such a dangerous fight. Like that, it's actually more just about the fact that you're less likely to die.
And
Come on, Angormus. Here we go, mate.
Gets the maze. It's going to cost him a little bit of time, but as long as it doesn't cost him his life.
Yes, that is certainly a main thing. Clears up a few of those little lightning rods. Gets back in on the fight there. Hopefully big damage into done here. Before the boss can do anything else.
He's going to get the stun. This is going to be clean now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. He wants
Is it clean?
Right oh, no. The slam again. Oh, the stun saves him. It was the slam again. Oh, and he gets close. He gets it. Well done. Well done. Nerves of steel there for that second fight. I was like, I was sweating bullets.
Oh, Driz
goes very low. These mobs are very dangerous.
Actually, wait. Sorry, guys, because we can't put the person that we're observing in the top spot on the observer window, so they're always going to be in the top right, in the bottom right. Sorry. Oh,
right hand side.
X-Ruse. Oh, are we good?
I think he had to reset checkpoint. He had to checkpoint.
He has to reset. Yep.
He didn't die, but it was close.
He's so far ahead that he can afford to do so. I mean, that being said, Driz is catching up. Oh, he was so deep.
That was a big reset. That gives Driz all the opportunity to get into the fight first, potentially.
Yeah.
Especially because he's moving through some real dodgy locations right now. That leap slam being done with expertise to get through that really sketchy area with the Abyss. Oh man, he's just riding that health flask this whole way through here. He's gonna get to the boss and have no health flask. So thankfully, there'll be a checkpoint. Okay. All right, you get stuck on the pole. No, don't get stuck there. Screw's hang in there, buddy. Hang in there. Such a tense zone right now, and just 700 health. What do we got from Driz? Is about the same. Is it 710? Yeah, they got like basically the same amount of life, and Screws does manage to get to the boss first, despite that reset. Meaning Driz has a little bit of catch up to do. And,
incredibly difficult boss.
In this boss fight.
This first phase, quite simple, but the second and third phase, surprise! Spoiler alert, they get really crazy. Wow, he actually gets the slam too. That is a really sketchy attack to dodge, especially if you're on a warrior. But with the benefits of being a ranged character, X-Ruse dealing with this boss expertly, I gotta say, his damage is pretty good. But is it better than Drizz's, who's trying to get there, dropping low, staying alive? But Tavakai slowly losing his life, and he's going to be
there we go.
facing him soon.
Yep.
Oi! Oh, that was so close. He actually paused the game because he was scared that he might just get clipped there.
Just trying to see. That's what that stutter was from our perspective. He was pausing the game to see if he's like needs to reset.
Oh, Driz is starting his fight. He's checking the friends list too.
Yes, I love it. It's so close. Oh, what is going to happen in the second phase here of the fight for us? Oh,
this is going to get crazy.
Very exciting. I love it.
No, he's moved. X-Ruse is in the top left now. We've got the tech.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Okay.
Okay, this is a crazy fight here for sure for X-Ruse. So much opportunity to die. So many abilities that are just so dangerous. The slam almost takes it down in an instant. Manages to dodge the freeze. That freezing portion of the boss's attacks are just so dangerous, as players tend to skip a lot of cold resistance. Has to dodge the big slam.
Okay.
Nicely done.
Perfectly with that dodge roll there between the spikes. That was really well done. Very tight. The freeze. Whoa. That was such a short duration. He managed to move just in time there.
Oh, so much huge slam. And Driz is up to his second phase. It really boils down to who can not die to this boss. And now we're entering the third phase, which is by far the most dangerous one. A lot of instant slime attacks that will take down the X-Ruse, and Driz too, who, man, Driz's damage is so good as he almost dies instantly.
Taking so much damage there. Manages to recover, getting harassed quite a bit by those Jade Warriors.
And his damage is so much better, but can X-Ruse survive here?
He's in a pretty bad spot for those spikes, but manages to survive. Third phase, we do see a full regeneration, so no regeneration, skip shenanigans. We're going for an authentic fight here. I wonder if we'll see anything different on Drizz's perspective, though. Potential catch-up in the making if some cheeky shenanigans occur. All right, third phase. Positioning between those spikes very nicely. Judging the slam well.
Oi! He stood in the spikes. He manages to survive. Here comes the big spikes. The explosion is not going to hit him. Pretty good pattern. The cold attack is out. X-Ruse has to dodge. He actually freezes.
He's going to reset.
He has to reset.
He has to.
He has to reset. That might be it. Can Driz survive?
Third phase for Driz. If he can do this, he will take the win. Just snatched out. Oh, no. So much damage taken, though.
Yeah, that explosion is huge. Driz. Oh no! Driz is gonna die. Driz is dead. The ball is dropping. Is he able to dodge it? Oh!
Floss,
he's alive.
Running out. There's not much left. He's surviving the stun. The stun will see him through. He can get it enough burst. It's so close. He gets it. Driz snatches the victory from Screws. Just of that reset, just was right there waiting to capitalize.
And Angormus is doing his second phase too.
Yo, Rangormus is going speeding back up to catch up, but will not get the overall win this time as Driz has secured that. As we move into the next phase for Angormus here as well. And oh no! After the reset, we see the actual death. No chance to reset on that one. That was a straight up one shot for Screws there. That gives Angormus every right to take second here.
I mean, that being said, the boss is still extremely dangerous, even for a warrior. We've seen so many rips. Again, Angormus is competing for rank 1 warrior.
Wait, huh? What? Whole New Society one. What? Excuse me, hold on. Okay. Oh no.
Okay, hold on. Let's watch Angormus finish, and then we'll catch up on what exactly happened.
Let's focus on Angormus for the moment here. Oh god. Okay. All right. Angormus' third phase going very nice. The damage is looking really, really good for him there. He gets a little bit of that ice beam, but rolls out of the way pretty comfortably, managing to precisely dodge the combination strikes there. Needs to get those walls down and get that totem back up. Get the war cries going off. And the stagger into the finish.
Okay.
Kill and take first place warrior confidently, if not first overall. But turns out third overall this week. Angormus not once again winning overall this time. We thought it was Driz, but it turns out, so this is a problem. Unfortunately, the limitation of the spectating tool for anyone who's not streaming is that we do run into a bit of an issue with who we're spectating. We can only do one at a time, and we did miss Whole New Society sneak up, and which I have to admit I discounted them after them just falling increasingly behind over time. Somehow managed to get back in there. And
Ziggy, you were supposed to be on the lookout.
I had them, but I swapped just not long ago to check in on. Oh god, yeah, I just swapped as well.
It's unfortunate.
I just taken them off my spectate. Brutal.
Man, it was probably down to the zone reset, right? That must have been what it boiled down to. I mean, that was Extras who was running into an issue.
Yeah, I think that was probably when they overtook them there. So apologies for missing the the visual for Whole New Society taking the win there in a similar fashion to what we thought Driz was taking it, but they did just snatch that victory. I actually want to see what the difference was, just how close it was in the end, because we had an insanely close four-way mercenary competition in this race. Just such a crazy, crazy race there with 4 mercs and a warrior all jerking it out for first. And let me get and have a look at that ladder action.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, we've never had a race this close. I think in PoE 1 or PoE 2 history, it was to the point where we actually missed the winner. I mean, sorry guys, but this is the best that we can do. We're still trying to min-max how we're going to be able to do this, but there's just so much craziness going on as X-Rays dies again. You guys are not even, I don't even think you're seeing it, but he actually is just repeatedly dying to the Act 4 boss.
Oh, I think we saw this last week as well, and I saw this in some of the practice runs too. Sometimes you just you get there and then you just get on tilt against Tavakai. It can be a run ender right at the very end as well, which is brutal. We'll switch some perspectives around and catch a little bit of like the kind of closing outs of a few of the other people who are pretty close to getting their finishes, like Jungrong, for example, on the Witch. And we'll see if we can check in on the Sork as well, if possible. I'd love to see how they ended up going, because I really wanted to see what the latter half of their run looked like too, if they're still going. So we'll check in on them.
That would be really interesting. Yeah. We've got Arco in the meanwhile. His streaming setup is a little bit off, so that's why his screen looks like that, but you guys can see that he's getting through to Benedictus. And let's be real, it doesn't matter if you're able to see Benedictus's attacks or not, because even if you're the player, even if you're the observer, that thing hits you, you're just going to die. So wouldn't really worry about it. We can't see it. The players can't see it. Visual clarity at its finest on that one in particular, as Angormus unfortunately complained about it, but he was able to get through to the end. Meanwhile, Jungrun in the top left is trying to get through on the Witch. Driz manages to finish. I think Xruz might have given up, or he's died again. Okay, so he's just not able to finish this Act 4 boss. We talked about how scary it is, and it is truly being shown here as we tune into 3 knife a sorceress player that has been in the background this whole race, but wasn't quite able initially to get past our other Sorc players. Now manages to finally do so, and is going to the heart of the tribe. So we've got a sorceress Act 4 boss fight coming up. That's going to be interesting. Not really something that we've seen before. Meanwhile, Jungrown still abusing this guy. Look at him.
The very interesting looking weapons swap minion tech there.
Oh, and look,
very
he's
effective
using
on
a
the clearing.
spear. He's using a
Yeah.
spear with disengage for a little bit of extra mobility to get through the zone. Super cool.
Yeah, and meanwhile we get the Tavakai fight now from the Sorc 3-knife, which is just really cool to see. And we saw some from a different Sorc earlier in the race, just some really good single target burst damage, and very cool to see how that's played out here in the later phases of the run. While we're just on this first phase, I'll just mention, so the final standings for the Mercs, Whole New Society taking the win at 2 hours and 36 seconds and 36 minutes and 15 seconds. So certainly faster than last week's 240 plus times that we saw, but definitely not as fast as people's practice runs. Like there was some, live on the day, the nerves hit you, things go wrong, and we certainly saw all of the Mercs die. I believe like twice potentially. So an incredible finish nonetheless, despite basically a 5-minute penalty. So it could have been like a 231 maybe, but nonetheless 236 and 237 for Driz, about a minute behind with Angormus. Another minute behind-ish, a bit more than that with 239. So an improvement over last week, but not as much as we expected, leaving plenty of room for a sub 230 finish.
Wow, look at that damage. My goodness. 3-knife with a huge amount of damage on this Tavakai fight. Looking super good. Oh, a little bit. He misses a little bit with the Ember Fusillade, but he is having a lot of infusions. He's trying to pre-plan that Tempest to maximize his damage. Here we go. Is he going to be able to finish the boss with this volley? No, not quite. Doesn't manage to get the infusion after all. And that's going to be enough for the third phase. And yeah, it's interesting how we mentioned that cold attack, and it really might have been the thing that had determined the race entirely, with Xrus getting frozen, as we mentioned before. It is kind of tricky. You just get killed by so many different abilities on this final boss fight that you kind of have to sacrifice one form of defense. And for most of our players, that's going to be cold res. And if you get an unfortunate pattern, you might just end up getting frozen. I mean, it also boils down to the greed. If you just continuously roll, you're not going to get frozen. But that is unfortunately not what happened. And we've got a pretty cool Sorc fight. And a really cool to see a Sorc potentially finish this close to our top players, unascended, I do believe.
As well. We haven't really seen them be this competitive.
You see that little trickle? That's the thing. That's the thing that kills them. But I think he's got I just noticed 594 energy shield with 700 life.
Sick.
This Sorc setup is so defensive. It is so powerful. Wow.
Funnily enough, one of the tankiest things we've seen potentially. Although not having any armor to fall back on for some of the mitigation, but for this fight, that extra health pool is feeling pretty nice. But that damage is looking pretty decent, honestly. It's a bit like ranged perfect strike. You're really trying to like get that channel up and build that Ember Fusillade up and time that out, which is really hard with the tight timings in this fight. But they're doing really well there.
Oh, that was it.
Mate. Oh, it's so chunky when it lands right. Ooh, a very nice kill. Honestly, seemed very comfortable. Like no real near misses or anything.
It's so hard to play because of the Mana Tempest. You have to position your Mana Tempest so perfectly when that Ember Fusillade releases, just so you have mana left over. Otherwise, you run out. So nicely played by 3-knife, and they're going to be our rank 1 Sorc player. And again, it's super cool to see a Sorc squeeze into the top 3. Actually, the third person to kill it. Nice.
I'll definitely be making a note of 3-knife. I feel like I remember we saw 3-knife in some of the earlier seasons, but I'll definitely be making a note of their name so we can check them out next week to see, because if they can smooth out that early game and speed things along a little bit, we could be seeing very, very good finishes from the Sorcs. Since we saw at least 2 competitive, and that is the, I believe, 4th place and first Sorc certainly as well there. Just refreshing the ladder and get the time on that one.
Bunka on a Huntress in the bottom left, trying to get through an Abyss. 832 life. Man, it is interesting, right? When it comes to the non-warrior, non-mercenary classes, it seems like our players are focusing more on defenses because our warriors and our mercenaries have the armor, so they're able to get through the mobs faster. But our other caster players are able to just build up so much more EHP. But the thing is, when it comes to Tavakai, you're still going to get one shot. So that's why that sword kill was so impressive, despite having a much higher EHP pool. As Bunka begins this fight as super prominent, especially in the first 2 seasons of our racing, a super prominent player. Truly an expert at the craft. Trying to get the rank 1 demi for Huntress. And a nice showing so far. Interesting setup too. Mostly gas grenade setup from what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, it seems like if you want to try and get that Huntress demi, the grenade style is the way to do that if you can kind of carry the rest of the race comfortably. It's obviously not necessarily as good as the mercenary at that for an overall competition, but certainly a good way to compete on the Huntress, and Bunka making the most of it there. I do have 3 knives finish time of 2:46, which is the same time that Angormas got last week. So that's an Angormas level finish from 3 knife, taking 4th position overall in first Sork. Yeah, on a sorceress. Wild, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things I think where you're taking a lot more risks when it comes to Sork, but if you execute perfectly, you're just able to be competitive. And honestly, there were probably some ribs behind the scenes that we didn't quite catch. We knew that they were keeping up. Yeah, we knew that they were keeping up, but it wasn't quite clear where they were. We have Arco with his wonky stream setup now, trying to get through his Act 4 boss fight.
Let's have a look at how Bunka's second phase goes. The grenades are certainly looking really good. I think their bombard crossbow is quite spicy, as their damage is looking pretty dang solid. Ooh, eats a big slam there at the start, though. Thankfully, the rain is forced to reset on the boss fight. Meaning Bunka will be redoing that boss as fast as they are. That means it's another go through that first phase again. Rough. That's the second person we've seen fall victim to the little icicle rain. It's quite unassuming, but very, very dangerous. Just that freeze on that is absolutely huge.
Yeah, unassuming is the perfect way to describe it, because it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage, but oh damn, Arco dropping low. Yeah, Torvian fight for Sarge. So our monk player keeping up. We might actually be able to watch a finish from every class this week. Last time it wasn't really super duper competitive across different classes. This time around, man, it is close.
Much better race overall. Yeah. Again, we're sorry that we missed the first place finish on the mercenary. It can be very difficult to track at times. We'll try and come up with a strategy for mitigating that potential in the future as well, as the casting tools and our setup gets better in the background. We'll try and get a perfectly delivered third race to you, but beta spectating. But we'll do what we can to give you guys a nice entertaining commentary and showcase for the race. Meanwhile, Arco moving down into the third phase of the Tavakai fight.
Bird for Jungrum, Bunka, second phase, beginning soon, and Sarge heading over to Benedictus. He finds the acceleration shrine, doesn't pick it up. Not a whole lot of trust in his damage. It seems like he gets the checkpoint. He's going to go back for it. So respecting Benedictus.
I was wondering about what the single target was looking like for this minion swap shenanigans that Jung has been doing, but looked really, really good, honestly. I'm not sure what the axe is. I'm going to have a look into this one for next time if it's going to be a bit more competitive. Obviously, still a fair ways behind on the Witch ultimately. But honestly, with like some more practice and stuff, a lot of that could just come down to like zone reads and timings throughout the rest of the race.
Arco, nice block there. I was thinking that he might end up dying there, but that was a really solid save. Plans it out perfectly. Wow, what a huge amount of damage towards the end there.
That's Arco taking second place warrior there. Congratulations. Looks like they had themselves a very nice run and a pretty finish
0 deaths too.
Yeah, 0 deaths. That's really good. Obviously, like just a bit slower on zone reads and other aspects of the racing compared to some of the other races that we've had finished already. But Are getting through there 0 deaths at this point. That'll be about a 250 kill, I believe.
And we've also got Keom on a Ranger in the bottom right for you guys, so super nice. Benedictus fight for Sarge. Let's see. Bunka manages to... Oh no! He's in trouble! He's in an unfortunate spot. The explosion... Oh, he actually finished the boss. Wow, that burst towards the end was massive. Sarge doesn't manage to finish his boss. I like how the spikes still remain embedded. He never manages to get them out. Damn, Sarge's damage is crazy. Oh, he doesn't get it. He still has to do the maze.
What?
Look.
Oh no, the like 1 hit point maze. So unlucky.
A little bit unlucky, but
tap him once to finish off the fight. Just the boss drawing out that fight against Sarge there. Yeah, we might be able to watch Sarge and Jungruin close out their race here, I think, as well. That's good stuff. But congratulations to Bunka for taking first Huntress there with some grenade mercenary style Huntress action. Very cool.
And since Jungruin is far away, maybe are we able to full screen Keom just to see the Ranger fight? As it is an approach that we haven't seen, and they are fighting their Act 4 boss right now.
Yeah,
I wonder if
full screen that. We'll have to see. They might have said that.
Maybe? Can we full screen the observer tool?
They can. Good job, production. Love it.
Let's go. Okay, so this is a lightning rod setup, something that a lot of viewers might be familiar with, but not really something that we've been seeing in the race. It's cool to see. Oh my god! Okay, that's a lot of damage. Holy!
Oh, it certainly has
and the electrocute too.
Burst. Oh yes, it is locked in place with that electrocute damage there. Oh my lord! It is a shame that it's not more competitive. We don't get to see a little bit more of this overall, but the burst potential when you can set up is just something to behold. Huge. Let's see. Can we just see that third phase just go all the way down?
I mean, that's definitely going to be at least 50% of the boss's life, right?
We didn't see any regen.
Bunka's going to maps.
Shenanigans.
Okay, here we go. Ooh, does it?
Go.
Okay, he gets it.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Here comes the electrocute too. He's lining it up.
Yep. Oh, he's 90% on the electrocute. Is so close. 95. Yeah, there it is. It goes off to get him. He has to remove his load.
It's dead.
The electrocute holds him down. Amazing. The boss did not even get a chance to do anything. They like moved like 3 steps and they got electrocuted. Actually, crazy. All right, so there's some potential there.
There's some potential. That's really interesting for sure.
I wonder what are the weaknesses in the rest of the strategy are. I'm gonna have a look in Ranger as well. Oh my god, I've got so much research to do for the next race.
Yeah,
Ranger
hopefully somebody
game question mark.
All right, and we just have, I believe, Jungruin, who is our top witch, because that was the finish for the Ranger. So
yeah, we've had Huntress, Ranger, Sork. Sarge is on the monk. So
right, witch already finished.
Sarge's monk to go as well. And it looks like Sarge is just starting Nakane, so Monk will probably be our next finished. And then we have Jungruin and the Witch to close out all classes. And we actually get to do a full
we already
class revision.
We already had a Witch finish. There's just too much happening. I believe it's a Chinese player that finished at level 36?
Yes, I cannot read that name, unfortunately. That was 36.
There's no way I can.
Ascended on an Infernalist as well. So actually Ascended. That's our first Ascended finish.
Interesting. Wow, that's super different. And it's not even close. Jungruin is still really far away. Damn, Sarge having to reset. Unfortunate situation there for Sarge. Meanwhile, we also have Nadine Wins, who's a Polish player trying his best to get through the Act 3. And then Bunka is going to maps. He's going to level 100.
I think we're going to be able to full screen Sarge potentially to watch the closing out here.
Uh-huh.
As we've got like Bunka finished and Nadine so far behind at this point.
I have a sneaking suspicion Jungruin is going to die to... Oh my, he almost dies to the... he totally dies.
Right,
Listen,
manifesting caster curse as hard as possible there, mate. Weren't you get an axe to grind? Clearly.
I'm getting better at this. I feel like I called
You
out
are.
so many ribs this time around. Damn.
Improving your caster curse powers.
Hell yeah.
Well, unfortunate upset for Jung Rowan there. They're trying to close out their second place finish, which they should have a decent shot at. Let's looking. Yeah, I don't see any other which is too close. So it's likely Jung can probably still hold that second place, but nonetheless, we will watch Sarge2 close out the race to finish us off for today on Monk, which is one that we don't get to see too often. Usually at the start of the race, we get to see him a bit, but usually falling behind at some point. But Sarge managed to kind of hang in there and not be too far behind the entire race. Really cool to see. Yep. On this warrior-esque Monk playstyle, that Abyss is in a bit of a nasty spot.
This is so sketchy. It's looking so crazy.
That whole zone there, the whole area, it's like full carnage. It's a nice shield charge movement through the longer portions here too, using the kind of Season 2 tactic of alternating between leap slam and shield charge with some dodge rolls thrown in between at different points whenever there's like a long narrow.
Yeah, you're not sprinting here. There's no way.
Not worth the risk. Sprint is a phenomenal addition to the racing, speeding things up and making things a bit more fluid. But yeah, there's a time and a place for that one. All right, sure. Let's have a look how Sarge's Monk Warrior shield slamming action is looking here. Tavakai.
Yeah, the damage on Benedictus looked good. It seems like you are able to get a quite substantial amount of damage. I'm not sure about his gear. The damage is not super crazy. That's for sure.
It's not chunking quite as hard as I remember Enormous hitting Tavakai here. Like, it's still a really good, consistent, nice, safe damage output. He's got 960 health, probably a good amount of armor, and from the looks of how he tanked that slipe, no flinch stun as well. So nice stun mitigation keeps things a bit safer. But yeah, not quite the same level of burst.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out what kind of shield is Sarge rocking here.
Yeah, take a look at that one. Looking at the smiling knight.
Okay. 308 armor on Sarge's shield. So his really shield is crazy. It's also got life, strength, and resistances.
Yeah, I think he just swapped gems, so he maybe hadn't swapped for that first phase. So he might see a bit more damage in this phase here. He's just tanking everything. Oh, he's tanking everything. Maybe don't tank everything. Yep. Come on, mate. Close this one out nice and clean for us here. There we go. The stun should be coming up now. There we go. Very nice. No worries dealing with the ads in this situation, as you just have those shield walls just constantly blasting away. Eats a few spikes, but oh no.
He has no fly flasks.
Oh, he kind of double tapped the life flask there. Yeah, he's forced to reset. Forced to reset. Yeah, he double tapped the life flask there, getting hit by just so many things. Making it, despite being so tanky, and he has room for errors, but obviously that just getting attrition down really hard there. I have to go back and hit the well in this situation, as there is no waypoint or anything to reset from. Quick little sip from the well.
That was really tricky. Has to go for the well sip, and yeah, he's gonna. This is the worst part about this fight. If you reset a checkpoint, you have to redo all of the phases regardless of where you do this. So, and he is having to go through the animation, so quite cinematic, but not super fun for a speedrun. Man, I gotta say, I don't want to be a hater, but I'm kind of disappointed about the single target, considering a 308 armor shield.
This is the difference on a monk, I suppose, right? Like, ultimately, it's not going to be the best class for this compared to a warrior. Not quite the same access to the nodes. But it's interesting, too, because I've heard speculation that monks can go, like, obviously they can do monk things, but that's in a bit of a rough place right now for us speed running. You've got this shield style option, but even people saying, like, doing grenades is a viable option. Ultimately, Sarge going for the safe shields and certainly looking very tanky. Able to make many mistakes in that previous attempt on the boss.
Grenades are tricky because you're just so dependent on your passive tree, and you have a really long way. Even on a ranger, as we could see. We had some players on Huntress and on Ranger going
Does seem really
for
awkward.
the crossbow approach, and some other ones going for the bow. Dropping
Definitely
low,
having
staying
a tough
alive.
time. Maybe just like a little bit less practiced on this boss fight, getting hit by entirely too many of these abilities. Better this time than last time, though, and should be able to build up to another stun here.
Who knows? Maybe he is proficient in his cold resistance. Nice phase.
Much better. He's holding off on that flask usage, just trying to stretch it as much as possible. Just giving himself a bit more room for errors there. It's like, I'm going to let that very slow regen just kind of top me up here as much as I can. Keep an eye on those flasks. No mana problems with the mana recovery. Last bit of minute gem considerations.
Pin? I think he put pin into his shield wall. Was it?
That's interesting. So I'm going to see if there's any pin builder. That would be wild.
Nah. Surely he's going for the stun.
Take advantage of the Tavakai shenanigans with the regen skip. You see that regen going off there.
No.
I don't see any pin build up going.
Yeah, I see the stun, so that couldn't be happening. Man, but the damage is...
Yeah. Third phase.
Why is the damage suddenly so good?
Is it just because he's so much bigger, maybe?
Oh, maybe,
he's a big boy in the third phase. So it looks nice and chunky, but he's got that armor break. Gets that stun, and that is a way to secure the third phase. Man, that looked way different night and day compared to his second phase earlier where he had to reset.
Right.
Really nicely done for Sarge 2, securing the Monk win.
Wouldn't be a perfect finish to the race without some technical difficulties as Ziggy cuts out.
No!
Welcome back, Ziggy.
That's the flavor of the day, is me saying the most insightful things you've ever heard, but not actually hearing them, unfortunately.
True.
Oh, cursed. Anyway, that was such a cool race, though. Like, so much diversity in terms of the insane amount of competition happening between and across different classes, with mercenaries being super, super tight competition this time around. A bit like kind of what we saw. I don't think we even saw Warrior being that competitive in previous seasons. Like, we saw some people trying to compete on Warrior, but never to that extent. 4 people just, like, actually looking like we had no idea who was going to win from the Mercs. And I really couldn't call it.
It's cool because in PoE 1, you kind of, regardless of the class that you're playing, the fundamentals of how you're speedrunning remain the same. But because of the way that enemies fight back in PoE 2, it really makes for a lot of skill expression, and it really changes the way that you approach things. So some players like Whole New Society, who ended up being our surprise winner, being able to switch and try out different classes is just so much more impressive. It truly is a real showcase of skill.
Yeah, it was such a good look at the potential here. And like, I feel like we're only still scratching the surface of what we could see next week. And it's maybe even a shame that this isn't like a 4-week race, because like, I don't even know if they're going to quite get to what they can be showing off here in week 3. But I expect, as always, the competition will be the spiciest next week as people try and compete for that overall fastest time across the board to try and be able to design themselves a divination card. And I wonder if we can see Angormus try and take that, maybe with a bit more practice than what he was able to get this last week, or if we just see the Mercs getting better and better at the same rate as they have been, or if we even get some surprises from the Sorks and the Witches, and oh man, like the range of damage there at the end. So cool to see. But really, really good race.
Yeah, the Ranger especially, I really think there's a lot of potential there. It was just Kiom, who has had quite a lot of success previously, but I think there's a lot to be discovered when it comes to a Ranger. It's kind of one of those classes that a lot of people thought in Season 1 was a top class because of the average player's leveling experience, and everybody hated on Warrior, and in fact it was kind of in reverse. And once people discovered that, Ranger became a little bit forgotten, the lightning growth approach proving not to be quite as effective. But it seems like with this new patch, we're still discovering things, we're still figuring things out, and it makes for a pretty exciting race. Man, what a run.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. That is Race 2. Tune in the same time next week for the exciting conclusion for this season of PoE Sports Racing action, as we will find out whether Angormus can reclaim their crown as the overall leader, or whether I don't even know what to expect from the mercenaries. There's maybe a 4 or 5 way battle there just for supremacy. Will Merc reign supreme all the way through this season, or will we see Warrior make a comeback, or maybe even some surprises? I don't know. Find out next week. Thanks very much for casting with me, Rise. And shout outs to the production crew and everyone, and all the racers as well, for feeding me information and practicing with me and things to help give us some real fun extra casting insights. So I appreciate it, folks. But that is going to be it for now. I'm ZIGGYD with RaizQT, and thank you very much for watching. See you next week.